Hello, world. Welcome back to Golf Subpar. Colt Knost, Drew Stoltz. Sleeze, the off-season for the PGA Tour is officially over after a 1-week hiatus.
Finally.
God.
Finally. I didn't know what to do with myself during that 7 days without golf.
There was some golf played, though, over in Europe. BMW Championship, flagship event on the European Tour. Huge event. And our guy Billy Horschel got the job done over there. So big win, and congratulations to Billy.
Is there anyone who plays better in the history of golf the week after Ryder Cup picks are made? And when he's on the bubble, by the way.
That's true.
I mean, dude, back when he won the FedEx Cup, that's why the rule got changed. So now they make the picks after the FedEx Cup. Then it happens this year. He's, you could consider him a bubble guy. And then he's like, okay, I'll go across the pond, play over there, wins one of their biggest events.
Yes, he did. It was awesome. Awesome wedge on the 72nd hole. Hit it to about a foot to tap in for the victory. So big shout out, Billy Horschel.
Kind of bittersweet though, dude, because the Rat. We're happy for Billy.
Yeah.
Great win. The Rat making a miraculous comeback. I feel like this is the year of the Rat. I'm gonna go ahead and dub 2022 the year of the Rat. But he was right there. He finishes the closing hole is 2 par 5s in a row. Bogey par, gets clipped by 1. Do you see him out warming up for the playoff? In case he was getting in the playoff. One-handed wedges, cell phone on the ear, just
probably
not worried about anything. Yeah, he's like, yeah, go ahead and push order on that thing.
I'm gonna make 600,000 at worst. Give me a new Lambo.
Yeah, I need my back against the wall again.
But I hope it's the year of the Rat. That'd be awesome. Bringing sexy back.
All the way
Let's
back.
do it. But, man, Sleeze, there was also some other golf played. I made a little trip out to Pine Valley. Our man Greg Trias, owner of Whisperock, was kind enough to take me and a few others out there. Spent 3 days. You've played it. This was my first time. What a place. And, my God, is it hard.
It is the best collection of 18 holes I've ever played. I haven't played everywhere, but a good amount of them. And from 1 through 18, it's one of those courses like, sometimes you show up to these historic golf courses that you heard about, you read about, and all this stuff, and you kind of expect every hole to be the best hole you've ever played. You see 16 at Cypress, like, oh, there's going to be 17 more of those. And then you get done, you're like, that's a great golf course. But there's some hole, there's not one, in my opinion, not one hole you walk off at Pine Valley and you're like, that was just okay. It's like every hole. If you had a group of guys, they played the whole course, said, what's your favorite hole? I bet you'd get a bunch of different answers.
It was special. 3 days of there. I don't feel very good about my golf game.
Yeah, how do you feel, dude? It's a beast.
I struggled the first 2 days. I played really well the last day. Shot 67, 3 under par. Had it 4 under early through 8. Was out rolling good. But man, it was really, really cool to play. And ran into a special friend of ours who we're going to be seeing next week at the Ryder Cup. Seth Waugh told me to give you a bit. Said give the Sleazy Man a hello for me.
Yes, Seth Waugh. Not sure he knows my real name, but I go by the Sleazy Man. I actually take that as a compliment, but we'll see him next week. That's another thing. You go up there like, dude, you don't know who you're going to run into.
And shocking, his hair looked very nice.
Was it okay?
Yeah.
Brandel and him. He was giving Brandel a run for his money.
But got stopped by a lot of people, a lot of members up there. Dave Kelly, our buddy, was like, God, everyone stops you to talk about this podcast. Yes. Everybody loves Subpar. Actually, shot the 67 wearing our birdie juice. Our little friend right there.
There he is.
The tweets were, obviously
travels.
The only reason why I played well was because I had that shirt on. But there was another gentleman that stopped me, and he goes, hey, Colt, I sent you a message on Instagram after the Bryce Mulder interview. Y'all were talking about the Onion, the girl he used to date. They called her the Onion. He goes, that's my cousin.
That's unbelievable.
I died.
Hey, remember that trick, the Onion? Yeah, dude, vaguely. Yeah, that's my cousin.
I was dying. I was like, how random is
this?
Oh, God.
The good news is, though, like the Onion, when I first heard the nickname the Onion, I was like, oh, she makes you cry. I thought there was going to be some crazy story behind it, but it's because she's from a town in Georgia, I guess, where they grow onion. Yeah. So it's actually not that bad, but yeah. Dude, you never know. What a world at Pine Valley, which of all places, like, wouldn't expect it up there all that much, but shout out to the Onion.
Yep, that was great, but that was so much fun. Thank you to everyone who comes up and says hi and that they love the podcast. It's been really, really cool for us.
That is potentially once in a lifetime trip. That golf course, 10 plus.
Yes.
What's your favorite course in the world? For me, it's Pine Valley, and then there's a huge drop off between the next one.
I agree, and the only unfortunate thing is it rained really hard Wednesday night and all day Thursday, so it played really, really soft, which was unfortunate. But my God. I would love to see that ball bouncing all over that place. It'd be,
It is the hardest place I've ever played to make birdies. Yeah. There's not one like, oh, this is the drivable, or I reached this par 5 and 2. The par 5s are like bogey holes. You easily can bogey those holes. The par 5s typically the scoring holes. You could play pretty good golf around there, like a good player, and not make a single birdie.
It happened to me.
Yeah,
Thursday.
Dude,
shut out.
You got to earn that thing.
Made 2 on Friday and then 5 on Saturday.
And the first 5 holes are really hard. You can be, your day could be over before it starts out there.
Shout out to our guy John Bracken from Whisperock as well. Made a little ace on number 10 the first day.
Ooh, that's the one you want to do right there. That's a plaque in the office, all that stuff.
They immediately bring out, like, they go get that flag and they dial it all up for you, and they brought it out to him like on 13.
Yeah, I'd be like making one at 7 at Pebble or something. Like,
but it was cool. Better. If you ever get invited, don't turn it down.
No, you go, say thank you, and How do I come back? But don't say that.
Yes.
Just imply that.
All right. Well, we got a lot to get to today. 1 week from today, we will be showing up at Whistling Straits for the Ryder Cup, and I cannot wait. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep this week. I'm so excited to get there. You and I have never been to a Ryder Cup, and we're going to be out there getting amongst it. We're doing our SiriusXM show live from the driving range Tuesday through Thursday. We're going to be doing some coverage for them, and also we'll be getting amongst it with the great people of Wisconsin at Three Sheeps.
Trace, shape us. We will be there. I've never been more excited to be at a golf tournament. I geek out for the Ryder Cup. This is going back to a young kid. This is the one I look forward to the most. I think the teams shook out about the way we expected. Maybe Scotty Scheffler being a little bit of a surprise there, but Europe just announced their picks. Patrick Harrington went with Sergio Garcia, not a surprise. Ian Poulter, definitely not a surprise. And the last one I feel like came down to Shane Lowry, Justin Rose. You probably make an argument on both sides. Justin Rose actually played some pretty good golf here lately. Went with Shane Lowry, which shockingly, he's a veteran. He's a major champion. His first Ryder Cup ever. So, they're getting a rookie, quote unquote, but it's about the most veteran rookie you could ever have on your team.
The big Irishman. I can't wait to see him going crazy out there. The man knows how to celebrate. Whistling Straits kind of looks like Ireland. Should feel right at home.
Yeah, and supposedly we're supposed to get some wind up there. It could be a little bit cool. This feels like a European kind of favored setup up there. Those guys are definitely used to playing and all that stuff. But if Shane Lowry's celebrating, it better be in the Team USA locker room afterwards, because I know they kind of like to link up, which is also pretty cool when the thing gets done and both sides go celebrate with each other no matter what and have a good time. So hopefully
we'll be celebrating
wearing some red,
whoever's
white,
winning.
No question. We can be bought. We can be coerced to rooting for whoever, but pro USA. But yeah, the teams are set, and now it's put up or shut up.
Well, I cannot wait. Less than a week away, we will be there, and we will be getting amongst it with our friends at Golf.com at Three Sheeps Brewing Company right outside Whistling Straits. We'll be there all week, starting Wednesday, September 22nd through Sunday, September 26th. Getting amongst it as Team USA looks to take down Team Europe. Exclusively on the Golf.com Pro Shop, you can purchase VIP packages that include a free driver fitting, drink vouchers, custom gear, automatic entry into long drive and putting contests, raffles, and more. We hope to see you all there. We better see you all there, because we're going to be getting amongst it at Three Sheeps.
Yes, chanting, red, white, and blue, face paint, the whole nine. We'll be doing our part to bring that cup back to the States.
Let's get it up at the Ryder Cup. But first, we got to get to our very special guest, my man, Ray Whitney.
The
former
Wiz.
hockey player, the Wizard. Great nickname, by the way. We're big on nicknames. That's a great one.
It's fitting.
Yes.
Very fitting.
But man who played 22 years in the NHL. And he's not the biggest guy on the planet, but the man could skate, went out. You took a little run at him on the ice.
He took one of my best shots, and he's still ticking. Took props to him. That just shows just what a competitor and what a gutty guy he is to stand out in front of a freight train like the Sleeze on skates.
One of the most competitive people I've ever met. We talk about it in the interview, how he battles the senior citizens at the gym, make sure he's doubling up what they're doing on the treadmill and everything. Yeah. But everything he does, first of all, he's good. He's a great golfer. He's a +1/+2 handicap, can go low, but one of the most competitive dudes I've ever seen. Wants to kill you and everything, and I love him. Actually caddied for me in my last PGA Tour event at the Phoenix Open. Was really special to share that with him. But we get into that and a whole lot more. So let's get to it. Here's Ray Whitney on Golf Subpar.
All right, what a dude. What a dude we have with us here today. 22-year pro hockey vet, Stanley Cup champ, plus handicap golfer. Absorbed one of the most vicious hits in the history of hockey when I almost decapitated him a few months ago. Ray Whitney, the Wizard. How we doing?
I'm doing great, Sleeze. Still recovering from that big hit you threw at me.
I was going to say, good to see you off crutches.
Yeah.
He's
here in one piece. Things are good.
I didn't mean to do that to you, bro.
I mean, to see that kind of force come at you was scary.
Yeah.
It was real. I'm healthy now.
Well, we're going to put that video back out now that we're doing this episode, but let's just recap that day a little bit, because we had the Sleeze. Never claims he's never been on skates, which after maybe
I will
very, very
put my hand on any book you want.
Well, that thing will burn from what I've been told.
Actually, I should stay away from those. But I would just promise to you.
But what do you think? Does he have any future as a hockey player?
He's got none as a hockey player. None.
What do you mean by none?
What? I'm not sure we can find a league that's shitty enough for you to play in.
Okay, fair.
But I will say this, though. He did much better than I thought he was going to do. That's why we're questioning whether he had some practice prior. But anytime somebody gets on the ice that never skated, I'm anticipating they're going down at least 2 or 3 times. And to his credit, the Sleeze got on there and made it one full lap without falling over. And I thought for sure he was going to go ass over tea kettle. And I was banking on it, actually.
Well, the people in the stands were definitely
everyone
rooting
was
for
wanting
it.
me to break my neck, by the way. I thought it was honestly the skating part. I was 100% convinced, like, this is no sweat. the skiing, I skied a ton growing up. That is a huge thing,
That
but it was
makes
honestly
sense.
harder than I thought it would be. My first few I started off pretty slow, but I was like, dude, I could go down. And I thought in my brain, I was like, no chance I go down on the skating part. The puck lifting was a different deal.
You were careful around the nets, careful on the turns, which was smart because that's usually when people drop. And like you said, he looked like he had done it before, but skiing makes a little bit of sense because if you get stuck somewhere in skiing and you have to basically skate your way out of it, it does make sense on that aspect. But I didn't think you were that good of an athlete.
Better chance you making the cut on in a PGA Tour event or Sleeze flying one in the net from the blue line.
I still think I could probably come closer to making a cut.
We get you in an opposite field event. Get you in Puerto Rico. You'd be an animal in Puerto Rico. By the way, the puck lifting thing, which I had no clue what to expect other than I flicked one up in the locker room and I was like, oh, fuck. It's as soon as you have no stability on your feet, like I was trying more or less not to fall down on every time I tried to flick it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have been there I know I was getting worse as I got more and more tired. I could have been there 2,000 pucks.
We could have sat there for 2 days. I don't think you would have gotten it. And you were creative, though. I like the creativity that he did where he went down to his knee, flipped one on its side, and tried to get in there and whip it in there.
The knuckle puck.
The knuckle puck, he called it. So after 40 pucks, I don't know if people have heard the story or not, 40 pucks, he says, finally he gives in. And thank God, because I didn't want to watch 10 more. So they bet him another $100, and I'll put 10 more. I'll put 10 more up on their side, and you can knuckle puck it in there. He still couldn't knuckle puck it in.
I would have got the knuckle puck. I was running on steam. It was hotter than shit. I've never sweated like that in my life.
Well, you didn't. You had 3 Red Bulls in you too, and
Good point.
I mean, you were sweating like a.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was fun to watch.
It was ridiculous.
But the last part, I mean, our man, the Wizard here, doesn't even put any gear on. It's kind of like
insulting.
David Sims in Tin Cup when he goes to hit the long 7-iron, doesn't even take his jacket off,
That's
warm
right.
up or anything. He's just like, nope, I'm good.
And I took that personally. I came in, dude, and as I was standing there, the more I got it, dude, I was Googling the night before, no bullshit. I was like, what if because I was planning maybe on like diving at your ankle. I was like, all he's got to do is
That's
move.
not safe.
But then I was like, exactly. So I was Googling. I was like, can I get could I break my neck or could I
was
do
more
something
worried about
bad?
for
So I
him.
was Googling like hockey paralyzation and shit, and I'd convinced myself I could die. I was staring at you, and the more I got in, I was like, this is a terrible fucking idea.
Yeah, it was watching you come. I'm like, okay, because what I did tell you before is if you come straight at me, I'm gonna have to I'll go right through the middle.
Yeah,
of you.
that's-
that'd be my only chance. But then I saw how fast he was actually and how well he was doing on his skates. I was like, shit. I should maybe put just some shoulder pads on a little bit or something. Nothing. And so I think, well, I'm just gonna have to dig in here a little bit. So as he was coming, I turned sideways just so I had a little leverage, and I got to be honest with you, I was gonna hit you so hard if you came straight on.
My only strategy, I contemplated 10 different things. My only thing I wasn't going to do was go right in the middle. I was like, he's going to be a brick shit house on the ice, and he's going to just put the shoulder right in my sternum. And I'm going, the only thing I can't do is have a meme. They would clip it and make it. I was like, I can't be the one going backwards. So that's why I went for like, I'm going to at the last second maybe like hit you in the side, try just get you to go backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there any NHL player that you kind of maybe thought
like
of when Sleeze was coming at you? You're like, oh, boy, this is kind of like so-and-so running.
No, I've had a couple trainers that that weren't very good skaters that reminded me a little bit. But there wasn't one NHL player. No, I mean
That's interesting.
The size that you look. I mean, he had my son's equipment on, which is kind of funny. Sleeves is quite
Except the helmet.
Except the helmet. Except the helmet. So you look bigger out there than I thought you would. But
I'm a unit.
But I've seen much bigger coming at me a lot faster.
The video, in real life, I felt like I was going 100. I was like, dude, I'm gonna kill him. Like I'm going so fast. And I saw the video. I was like, is this in
the video?
Slow-mo? It doesn't do it justice.
The video did not do it justice. I guess the video was telling the truth is what it was, but
Yes.
it wasn't. I thought you were coming faster than that too, to be honest with you. But then when we watched the video, I'm like, oh man, he really wasn't moving.
The
very
camera
fast.
takes off 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We all know
Yeah,
this.
that's
As a
right.
hockey player, you
And
know
it
this,
actually
I know this.
takes off 10 inches my height too.
Right,
So, yeah.
you're way bigger.
Yeah.
You're 6'3".
Yeah, I'm
you
sneaky
didn't
big.
look that tall.
I'm sneaky big.
Sneaky big. Well, let's get to know the Wizard, Ray Whitney, a little
Yes,
better because we
please.
are going to put that video back out now.
It's a great video.
It is.
It was
It
fun,
was very,
by the
very
way.
well done, and it's a fun 10 minutes to watch. There's no doubt about it. But he puts on skates at 36 years old. When did you first lace up the skates?
I was 5 years old back. I grew up in a farming town in Western Canada. Not a farming town. I grew up on an acreage. And where I started skating, there was 200 people in this town, maybe 250 if the farmers were in for coffee. My dad ended up knowing people, so I got a lot of access to the ice whenever I needed. Plus, in Canada, everybody's got a dugout for the cattle, and that freezes over in the wintertime, so you just shovel it off and go down and skate. So I've been on the ice since I was 5, and then growing up in Western Canada, all winter you're on the ice all day long. There's nothing else to do up there. It's cold, dark, and full of snow. So
Yeah, what's it sunlight for like 2 hours a day up there?
yeah, in the wintertime, you get up, go to school at 8:30, it'd be dark, just getting light, and by the time you got out of school, got home by 4, it was dark.
Explains why you're such a dark individual.
Yeah.
This explains a lot.
Yeah,
You're like
exactly.
Bane. You lived in the
explains
dark.
why I live in the desert now. You know, I need some sunshine.
Yeah. In growing up in Canada like you have, and we've talked to some golfers who are from Canada and all that stuff, is it like every kid play, like hockey's 1A? I'm going to play hockey until I'm not good enough to play hockey anymore, and then I find golf or I find whatever. Does anyone opt to play something else?
No, I think for the most part, it's probably 90% that put skates on at some point. Now, they may check out of the game quicker than others, but golfing's becoming a bigger sport in Canada, as you can tell by some of the quality of players that we're starting to produce. But again, as the season is so short that you have to do something else. And generally, most hockey players who turn golfers can hit the ball a long way just because of the motion. Baseball is not overly big. Again, just from the time of year, curling is really fun to play. I don't know if you guys have ever curled.
Watched it, haven't played it.
It's a fun sport, but again, that's not gonna become a career for anybody. So, if you don't play hockey in Canada, I'm not. You might be.
Steve Nash is one of one.
He's one of one. He lived out in British Columbia and Victoria, which is it doesn't snow much over there or at all, and he's probably one of the bigger Canadians we have at 6'3", and that's not that big.
Yeah.
What age did you know, like, okay, I'm pretty good at this?
In arrogance, I got to be honest with you, in a small
5.
town, 5. I only scored 1 goal my first year, and that was against the Mothers. The kids got to play the Mothers, and the Mothers, they knew I was the only kid who hadn't scored a goal, so the Mothers parted like the Red Sea, and one of the Mothers spread her legs for me, and I threw it the 5-hole.
Whoa. It's
a family show, right?
Yeah, bro. Golf.com.
I love saying that.
That's great.
So I scored 1, but I always thought I was pretty good, but what I always had people telling me all the way through junior or even a pro was that I was too small. So even though I was better than a lot of the kids I played against, there was guys getting drafted in the junior leagues. We didn't have a draft, but it was called protected list then. They were getting picked up quicker than I was, and I actually didn't get picked up until 6-7 months before I went to junior. So I knew I was pretty good, but trying to convince everybody else was a little bit tougher.
Is it hard in a town of 200 or whatever you said it is to get noticed? Like, even if you are the best, like, is it, or do they just find you in Canada?
No, what happens when I grew up, they take 3 or 4 of these little towns and make one team, and then you travel around and play in the big league. And then when I moved to the big city of Fort Saskatchewan, which is 11,000 people.
Ooh, bright lights.
Bright lights. They kicked me out of the team I was playing on. They said, I played there for a while, and they finally said, you don't live out in the country anymore, you got to go into town. And when we went into town, that's when I realized, wow, shit, we're pretty good in town. We ended up winning the Western Canadian Championships, which is basically the national championship for our age. The last game was televised on TV nationally, so it was a big deal. So it was a good thing for me actually.
Well, before we get into that, because one thing I didn't actually know that you were a stick boy for the Edmonton Oilers when the great one.
Stick boy.
Yeah,
Stick
yeah.
boy might be better than wizard.
Yeah,
Stick boy.
So this. Yes, my father was the practice goalie for the Oilers for about 30 years. So when I was around 11 or 12 years old, every day he'd go and practice with them every day. So if I didn't have school or hockey, I was tagging along, and I'd bring my equipment and I'd skate. When they were done, I'd go out there and skate for a couple hours, and my dad would just wait for me. And then I started working game nights, and then Gretz being the best one ever, he'd walk in and he had a bunch of names for me. He called me Mouse. He called me, he had whatever was on his tip of his tongue that night, he called me. And he'd say, I need 5 tonight, So that was back in the day where we used wood sticks. So I'd go grab 5 new sticks, cut them up. And
so he trusted you to cut them.
Yeah, he wasn't going to cut them.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, Mouse. I don't know if I trust Mouse to do it.
So he would I'd cut them. I'd leave them in a stall. He'd come back and doing whatever he's doing. He'd tape them. I'd pick them up, and then what he did, that nobody else did, he put baby powder on the tape, on the blades. Oh. And baby powder, all that was, it's to keep water off your blades or keep snow off your blades. Nowadays, people use wax. But those days, he used baby powder. So I'd baby powder them and leave them one stick. And the best part about that, guys, is that hockey players and their sticks are like golfers in their clubs. Mm-hmm. When you got to, you struggle to find what fits you. And each night players would take a wood stick and they would look at the curve. They would flex it. They'd change their curve with the torch. They would move it around, do what they wanted. Wayne never did any of that. He'd walk in. He didn't even look at his stick. He'd just leave me one. I could have left him a broom that said 99 on it, and he would have been happy. So he was that good and that creative. And then my other job was to make sure that, he had Gatorade after the game that wasn't Gatorade.
Nice.
So it was an easy job to have. Take care of him before the game, take care of him after the game.
It's kind of the same role at Gaza Ranch now.
Well, it's funny you say that. Now we're going up there and we're playing in the Bel Air. I remember a guest about 3 weeks ago, and I'm flying from Gaza, and he's out getting his daughter situated at SMU, and so he goes, "Hey, Ray, would you mind bringing my clubs for me?" And I said, "Once a stick boy, always a stick boy." I guess. So here I am traveling the country with his sticks again.
Give me a drink too.
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah. And while you're at it, make sure I get a Gatorade cup.
I love that.
Exactly. I didn't know about this wax and powder. I didn't have that on my stick, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
I never.
probably why the puck wouldn't go in the air.
Yeah, well, that and many other reasons why I didn't go
That
in
and
there.
a variety of
Yeah,
ways.
he was kind of a pioneer in that. Some people tried to copy him, but then it just looked like you were trying to copy the best one. Then you humiliate yourself because there's only one person that should have baby powder in their blades, and that's the great one. So
But what was it like? I mean, obviously, you're getting to grow up around him and watch the greatest to ever do it. I mean, there's only one great one.
There is.
And watching him do his thing.
Well, it wasn't even just him. You had Mark Messier on that team. You had Paul Coffey. You had Grant Fuhr. You had, I think there's 6 or 7 Hall of Fames on it, but it might have been the best team ever assembled. There's obviously going to be debate for that, but this one was the most creative and fun to watch, and I got to watch it from the bench on a nightly basis and got to skate with him every day that I didn't have hockey. The coaching staff there was great. Even if they had a full practice, I'd sit on the bench with full equipment waiting for the practice to be over. As soon as coach blew the whistle and gave me the nod, I was on the ice running around like I was an Edmonton Oiler at 14, 15.
That's incredible.
I don't think they would have achieved anything without Stick Boy, though.
Well, no, they wouldn't have got shit. Gretzky, he had 200 and some points. He would have got like 150 if
You're
I
kind of
wasn't
like
there.
Steve Scott. He
Yeah,
created
dude.
Tiger. You created Wayne Gretzky.
created, without that
This makes
ball
sense.
marking incident, Tiger's a 0.
That's right.
Gretzky's nothing without
He's
you.
not much. I tell him that all the time. Every now and then he'll throw one over my bow saying I would have scored 1,100 goals if it wasn't for you. And I said you would have scored 500 if it wasn't for me. Now the fact he says 500 is still unbelievable.
Exactly.
I
Right?
wouldn't have scored shit. Only 500.
One of his best lines up in Gaza too is when he makes a putt or he does something there and everybody says whatever, great shot, and he goes, what? No TVs where you're from?
TV growing up?
And I'm like, yeah, fair. And there's no real comeback to him. But to get back to your point, Colt, watching the best team ever, and then when they win the Stanley Cup, they win in '87, they win in '88. Obviously, my dad's there. He's going out with them. I'm working, but I'm the designated driver now. So I'm out to the bars with these guys at 14, 15 years old, just turned 16. And I'm out with these. So my job there, I never stopped working. My job then was just to dance with their wives on the dance floor while they sat there and drank out of the cup and did their party. And then I was just there to keep the flies away from the wives. And
Pretty good.
that wasn't a bad gig either.
Pretty good.
What a
God,
life
you've
to
lived
live
a
through.
life,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
What
for
a
15 years old.
I mean, that's like being Jordan's ball boy for the Bulls. Like
Yeah, and then going out with him when he wins.
Yeah, and then be like, oh, you want me to dance with the wifey?
Yeah,
Make sure she's okay?
And the one year they won, I just turned 16 years old, and my dad, when I turned 16, he bought me a 72 Volkswagen Beetle. And you lift the front up, and that's the hood. The engine's in the back. So I'm getting ready for they're playing Boston. They're going to win it. They're going to clinch it in at home. So we're getting the champagne, we're getting the beer, we're getting that. And I sneak 2 bottles of champagne, and I run them out to my car, and I stick them in my hood. So the night goes, they win, we party, we go home. I take Dad home, who's a police officer, by the way. So I was the designated driver. I take him home. You don't get much by a police officer. So next morning, Dad gets up. And I'm there, and he let me stay home from school that night. He walks out to the Beetle, lifts up the trunk, sees the 2 bottles of champagne in there. Just took one. He took one. I was only 16. He let me have one, and we opened it up with my buddies. And my dad was, my dad's a tight ass when it comes to stuff like that, and I was pretty proud of him for letting me have one of them.
What a guy!
That is awesome.
I'm surprised you turned out the way you are with a cop dad.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hiding going on, and I wasn't. I'm pretty shady. That's why.
Yeah, I know, dude. You're a crafty little bastard.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't play juniors that long. I mean, you get drafted at 19. I mean, that's got to be unbelievable. I mean, was there ever a time where you doubted? Like, that's going straight from high school to the NBA or NFL or whatever. Was there ever a time you doubted, like, am I good enough? Being that, size you mentioned?
Not at that time. I was starting to believe more. Later in my career, I started to doubt a little bit. But in junior, I left home at 16. I was 139 pounds of the official weigh-in. My roommate that they put me with was a full 7 inches taller than me and 100 pounds heavier. He was the toughest guy in the league at the time, which is why they put me with him. But, leaving home at that early and at that size, I figured, shit, I must be pretty good if I can do it at this age. And each year I got better and better. And then the last year I got drafted, I led Canada in scoring, not just my league, but all 3 leagues, and we won the national championship. So I was pretty confident in myself by that point. You think I'm cocky now. You should have saw me back then. It was
finally you get some confidence.
Oh my gosh, it was, but then I get drafted 23rd overall, which is at that time I'm so old that was actually the first pick in the second round.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wait, these numbers don't really add up.
Yeah, that's not a first rounder. Yeah. So, then once you turn pro, I guess I could say to anybody who gets drafted in whatever sport they're in, getting drafted is the easy part. That's the easiest, because once you turn pro, man, everybody's good. And so that took me a little while to figure that out.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the Spokane Chiefs, because this has got to be a typo, right? 185 points in one season?
Yes, the regular season.
How many games is that?
I played 71 that year.
Okay, so
were there bonus points, like double point night or something
no,
like that?
no.
Is that a record? One, get one free?
No, that's not a record. Nobody's got there since, but no, there's guys with 200 in the 200s, and I was probably 25, 30 points shy of that. So that's impressive for those guys who got into the 200s. But 185 was big. Yeah, that was a big one. We had a great offensive team. My line mate actually went second overall behind Eric Lindros. So we had the best team offensively, but we also had the toughest team, which makes you probably the better offensive team, because you can do whatever you want. Everybody's scared they're going to get the shit kicked out of them. And that's what happened almost. We had the toughest guy in the league in 66 games because he had a few suspensions.
So you were nothing without him.
He had 66 fights.
Oh, respect.
And, I never saw a knuckle on his left hand all year. All he did is walk around with an ice bag on his hand. And
that's a tough.
And that's in a day.
That's a tough gig,
guys. That's in a day when they didn't just fight. Like today, they fight. They're not allowed to take their helmets off, or else the refs get in there right away. In those days, they actually backed up, unbuckled their helmets, spun it on the ice, and now it's just a bare knuckle fight. And he had 66 of them in regular season. So, and in that day, that helped.
His dentist is living nice.
He never he kept all his teeth. He never got cut. I mean, it was actually unbelievable. It's just the fact that I never saw his knuckle on his hand.
That's a tough gig.
Yeah, tough gig.
Yeah, just different breed.
You mentioned the game back then was obviously a lot more physical, a lot of fighting. There's a lot of big boys running around hitting each other.
Yeah.
Would you say your game, because you were fast, smaller, would you say it's suited now for today's NHL better than it was when you played?
For sure. The first half of my career was built with trees. If you weren't, I didn't get drafted my first year eligible either. I had to go in the first 3 rounds, but I had 113 points that year. I didn't get drafted. And it was because of the size. It was because players had to be over 6 feet back then. And if you're a defenseman, you had to be 6'3". And, once I did get drafted and got into it, the rules are way different. A little guy could not get through the sticks. You could hold, or hook, hold, just push people around. And today, it's free wheel, and they can go anywhere they want without anybody touching them. So I would say I'd be better off today than I was back then. But
think about how much money you'd have.
God.
Well, a lot more. I mean, still won't have as much as I like with my wife.
About you, dude. You doing all right?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be too proud.
What the funny thing about money is now too. It's especially with older players, and probably the same in golf. Colt, people, the older guys used to complain about the money. When I played, I only got paid this, and 99 changed that for us. Probably like Tiger changed it for you guys. So, talking to Wayne. He's one of the best in the league, or best in the world, for saying, good for him. He made that. These contracts now are, ridiculous compared to what he got, and he's the best to ever play. So, I'm one of those guys too. I'm happy that they were getting it, and we all played a small part in building the league to what it is.
But it's funny if you look at it.
Now.
I mean, with the
right.
But if you look at the NHL compared to NBA, NFL, baseball, it's
close.
like Austin Matthews is the best in the world now, and what's he make? 10, 11 a year?
I think he makes 11. McDavid's the best in the league.
Sorry, Connor McDavid's the best.
Yeah, and he's making 13.
But you look at guys in the NBA who are making 43.
You got guys that
if you can make 60% of your free throws in the NBA, you're going to get 13.
You got fourth guys off the bench that I've never even heard of. I follow it pretty close, and they're making 18 a year.
Yeah,
like, really?
I mean, it's obviously they only have 11 guys on their roster. Or
11, 12,
12 maybe. And
football's got 53.
Yeah, obviously TV is generated. We're not as big in the U.S. as we should be or would like to be. And it's funny. I had a good conversation with the guy, one of the owners for the UFC, a big agent, Patrick Weitzel, great man. And we were just talking about hockey and the UFC and how well it's doing. He had a reverse take on what hockey is trying to take fighting out of the game a little bit and slow it down. He's of the opposite opinion. He goes, you guys should be selling it,
100%.
endorsing it,
100%.
And people, you look how well they're doing. in the UFC, people will be watching it even more, especially when you go live. You see, hey, is this staged? Not, and you see a bare knuckle fight, and some guy gets sliced open above his eye and gets his teeth knocked out. And you're like, oh.
I mean, I get the safety part, but as far as entertainment,
Dude,
shoot.
As a guy that doesn't watch a lot of hockey, doesn't pretend to know a lot about hockey, I don't ever watch a game or go to a game and be like, I hope there's no fights. It's like the most coveted thing I hope there's 5 of them.
When there's a fight, you watch, just look at the crowd. They all stand up, and if it's a good one, they're energized for the next 10 minutes. They can't believe it, right?
It's a differentiator for
it's
hockey.
So exciting.
I took Gary Woodland to his first NHL game. It was in Dallas against Pittsburgh Penguins. Sidney Crosby's playing. Final score 7-5. There were 7 fights. Crosby fought. He's like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm like, this is not how this goes every night.
We don't do that every night.
I'll never forget it. Crosby dropped the gloves with Matt Niskanen.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact the best player in the world, or in our game at the time, is still trying to, he's still mucking it up.
12 goals in 7 fights. Gary's like, this is incredible.
Yeah. Lean into that.
Yeah, exactly. Tap into that.
Lean into that.
Tap into
people
that.
love that.
Now, people don't have to fight. Like, nobody has to go out on the ice and fight. But I tell you what,
don't take it away.
They love every fan favorite. Just about every team is the guy who fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
of course,
they all love the skill guys, obviously, but the fan favorite usually is the guy who's out there knuckle dusting it all the time.
100%.
Well, one of those fan favorites you won a Stanley Cup with, who is also one of Subpar's favorite guests ever.
Yeah,
very, very popular. Anywhere I go, they're like, who is this Mike Commodore guy?
Oh,
I've got to meet him. You win a cup with him in the 05-06 season in Carolina.
Yeah.
You got to give us a little insight into your relationship with Mike Commodore.
So Mike Commodore and I are both from that same small town I was telling you about, 11,000 people.
What a coincidence.
And that is actually unheard of as well. His mother was our high school principal at the time, who actually failed me in a couple courses. Son of a bitch.
That's hard to believe, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a smart guy, and she just would not give me credit, So I miss it. But anyway, Mike is a very interesting guy. He was a college player. I went to junior. You'd think Mike could be suited for junior because, the size of him. And what people don't understand is he's actually really intelligent. When he drinks,
I don't understand that.
What?
He hides it very well.
He hides it well. He hides it well because when he gets off, and he goes off the rails, man, it's a thing of beauty and it's fun to watch. But playing with him, he was a man who knew his limits, and he'd always have a great quote. He'd come around the net and he goes, "Ray, I saw you open on the far side. I'm not going to make that pass. I'm off the glass and out of the zone, safety first."
Safety first.
Right? And that was his thing, and everybody laughs about it. But then it's a 2-1 game, Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals, for all the marbles, and Mike Commodore was on the ice at the end of the game. So he took up a lot of space. He was big and strong. He was tough, and what a character. I mean, for those who don't know him, he obviously didn't cut his hair the entire season, and this thing grew and grew and grew. It was like a chia pet. And he'd wear this robe. The robe. And Everlast sends him a robe. So now he's, they're selling robes on the concourse. We go to Alberta, we go to Edmonton in the finals, and the history of some of the places. Detroit throws an octopus on the ice and that, and Alberta is known for Alberta beef, so they throw a big piece of steak on the ice while Kami's on the ice starting during the anthem. As soon as the anthem's over, he goes over there and just tomahawks, just spears this piece of meat, and just grabs it and throws it over. I mean, he's an interesting guy. He's a fun guy. My kids love him, except the asshole brought over my daughter or my son. They turned 5 in Carolina. I bring him over. He came over for dinner. He brings a frickin' drum set. Yeah, that's
good gift.
That's what a guy.
What a guy.
That's what parents want their kids to be doing, and because the kids, of course, okay, Dad set this up, so we put this drum set on, and they're smashing away on it, and he's just sitting back there drinking his tequila, giggling away.
Here's a trumpet. Learn this too.
Yeah.
But he had the robe thing going on during that time, which made him very popular. You had a little gig too, the Where's Whitney, where you were trying to sneak into interviews. Tell us about that.
Well, those of you guys know me.
I
don't take a whole lot serious. Once this puck dropped, I was serious, but I wasn't a guy who did a lot of pregame stretching. I didn't do a lot of meditating. I usually watched Seinfeld until it was time to go out for warm-up. So I would basically joke around until game time. And, it's funny because Rod Brindamore, who's the coach now of the Carolina Hurricanes, he might be the most serious guy I played with. And he's intense. And I get on warm-up, and everybody's around there stretching and doing stuff. I have nothing to do. I don't stretch. So I'm shooting a couple pucks, and then I'm tired of that. So I got in behind guys while they were getting interviewed on the bench, during the warm up, and I just started making faces and start popping up, and I would do it without anybody knowing it. I didn't tell anybody, "Hey, watch this." I just kind of was doing it. So then, about a month into it, we're in LA, and the coach at the time, Peter Laviolette, he's watching all these warm-ups, and he's like, I know he's got a great. So
Every time that name comes up, I keep going.
Yeah. So it's a side story to that one. So, so I was doing it. Finally, he says, "You guys ever notice in warm up? You ever watch what Witt's doing?" And they're like, "No." So they went back to a few games in a row, and they're like, "Oh, he's just effing around out there. That's all he's doing. I don't know if he's even taking a shot. He's just messing around." And so the next game we had our power play meeting, we had our video session with our penalty kill, and he goes, "And guys, he has one more video. If you guys don't know what they're doing, what's going on in warm up, here's what's really going on in warm up." And he shows a clip of the last 6 games, and that's just me screwing around for the entire time, and nobody had a clue I was doing it. So that's how intense everybody, I guess, is on the ice. They don't even know I'm back there screwing around.
That's incredible.
Where's Whitney?
Yeah, where's Whitney?
It was born.
How do you not stretch?
Yeah.
You just wake up ready to go?
He's a lion, dude.
I wake up ready. A cheetah? Is a cheetah out there stretching before it goes
That's
after
a good point.
it? No,
Wake up and roll.
Wake up and roll. I mean, I'd have a coffee and I would watch Seinfeld, and I would, if you stretch it too far, then it's going to keep on going. Keep it tight.
Yeah, keep it
taut.
Any
that thing,
other than Seinfeld, any superstitions?
Yeah, there was plenty of superstitions.
Let's go. I love this part.
Yeah, so especially in the playoffs, during the regular season, you would switch it here and there, but in the playoffs, if you went a certain route to the game or to the morning skate, if you stopped at a certain Starbucks for your coffee, you could actually time your watch. Everything I did from that game to the next, if we won, would be the exact same to what I did before I went on. I always got dressed the same way, always right side first. That was just, I'd always tape my sticks the same way. I'd always retape them every game, so I'd have 4 sticks a night. If I only used 2 or 3, 1 or 2, I would still tape all of them again, brand new. And then from there, after the game, or after the pregame meal, first of all, pregame meal would be exactly the same, right down to the noodle almost.
Well, what was it?
Well, I started off with a bowl of soup.
Okay. You love soup.
I love soup.
I mean, this man, it's 110 degrees in Scottsdale. He finished golf.
Or get a chili?
Chicken noodle, please.
Chicken noodle soup. So I love my chicken noodle. I'd have a chicken noodle soup. I'd have chicken parm with some noodles, and I'd put my salad on top of it with the dressing, and I'd mix it all in and make one big goulash, and I'd finish that. And I always had a chocolate or hot fudge sundae, sundae, because we had ice cream there at the.
You had a chocolate sundae before the game?
Oh, right. Yeah, we eat at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We don't eat again until 10 o'clock at night, so you're going to burn the calories off. So
chicken parm with a salad, that's a strange.
Oh, it was kind of strange. Everybody thought it was kind of kind of offside.
If it works though.
It was that bad where we were actually in Boston one night, and they screwed the order up, so they had no chicken parm, and I don't like just regular grilled chicken for pregame. So I was so pissed off at them that I said, I'm not eating anything then. I'm just going to eat soup. Giving it to our team services guy. I ate 5 bowls of soup. That's my pregame meal. I had a hat trick and 2 assists. We won 5-4.
New routine.
So what do you think I did the next game?
Yeah, exactly.
5 bowls of soup, and I
Damn
was
sure better.
And I was the shits. So I went back
3 gallons.
So it even got to the point where superstitions were right to your home.
When you
to the home life with
it's like clockwork.
It's
once you get something that works, like you don't mess that up. But going back to the Hurricanes team with you and Kami and all the shenanigans that were going on, is that the most take away the Stanley Cup? Because I know you guys won the Cup that year. Is that the most fun like you've ever had playing in the NHL, or was there another city where it's like, hey, it's really good to be a part of the pro hockey team here?
That one is probably the tightest team I played with, and Peter Laviolette did a great job of incorporating family into it as well. We had wives, kids. Everybody was kind of one big group, so it was a really tight group. It was probably the most tight knit I've had. But believe it or not, one of the funnest teams I was on was the expansion team in Columbus. And whenever you're on an expansion team, like you're going to see it with the Seattle Kraken and the Vegas Knights, like they're not castaways, but they're players that were left available, right? And so they usually have common attitudes. They're usually good people. They're usually guys who have to work hard. There's usually no egos because there's no superstar coming in any of that group. So we had a great time in Columbus. Now, we didn't win a lot of games, so that part sucked. But we had a great time off the ice. It was a bunch of good dudes.
Well, we got to hear about, because, the tradition is when you win the Stanley Cup, you get the cup for a day.
Right.
What was Ray Whitney's day with the cup?
My day started with me puking.
Perfect.
That's how a lot of good days start.
Yeah. So, backstory. So the Stanley Cup, every player gets a day with it. But my Commodore and I are from the same hometown, so we get to share 3 days. We had a day and a half each. But you have to wait for it to fly commercial. So the day it was supposed to land for me was going to be like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So Kami and I chartered a plane and went to St. Louis to Doug Waite's party. And we partied with him all night. And we ended up finally taking it. We ended up at Joe Buck's house, and we finally had at 6 o'clock in the morning say, "Hey guys, we got to go."
6 in the morning.
So we take it. We go back to the hotel where we left our bags. We actually never got into the hotel. We just picked our bags up where we dropped them. We went to the plane. We had the cup keeper of the cup was with us. So we all get on this private plane. We take an Ambien. We need some sleep. It's a 4 or 5 hour flight back. So we land. I could have smuggled whatever I wanted into Canada from that day because the customs people in Canada, you bring the Stanley Cup, they could care less what you have coming out of that plane. As long as I can take a picture of the Stanley Cup.
Chapo could fly that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
Keep it moving.
Could have been
Keep
there.
it moving.
Keep it moving. Where's the
You're
cup?
fine.
Where's the cup? So we take a picture of the cup with them. I'm not feeling very good, so I run into the terminal there, and I throw up. So I get off. My wife calls me. We got the day planned. We're going to my grandmother's house at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we're going to my other grandmother's house. She was in a home. I took her to the home, but I told her I started with the puke, and man, she was so pissed off.
Rich, relax.
Yeah, she's like, you better be ready to go. I'm like, oh, I'll be ready. So the drinking that day, you want to touch as many people as you can with it because it's truly the biggest celebrity there is in Canada. There's the Stanley Cup aside from '99, and so I went to my grandparents, both their places. I took it to my small town. I gave it to my parents for an hour so all their friends could have it. I took it to my wife's friends or parents' place for an hour. I took it to the dealership who gave me a vehicle every year to drive in the summertime. I'd let them have it for an hour. I took it to the only really good restaurant we had that let me used to cook my own pizzas from the time I was 12 years old. I took it to them for an hour. And then Mike and I had a little small parade through our small town. It took 3 minutes to get through downtown Main Street. And then we went to the main park there, and we did a quick little speech thing. And then we had the kids all the hockey players from around the area we stayed there until the last one was done. So there was probably 400 or 500 kids that came up, got their picture with the cup. And then from there, I went back to my place with all my buddies just for a second. We started getting going. And my big party was at the arena I told you guys about earlier, that little small town of 200 people. It was like 7 kilometers out of town. So that's where the main party was. We had it cut in half. There's no ice during the summer there. And we had all my friends in for that one. And then that national championship team I told you about that I played when I was young, before I went to junior, that whole team came to join. It was a pretty cool day. And then we go to 5 in the morning, and then we get up the next morning at 8, jumped back on the plane, went to British Columbia where I was part of a golf course development thing. We did another half day there. Took Mike and his parents with us, and finally halfway through that day we landed back at Edmonton, and I said, "Here, you take this freaking thing."
I've seen this.
I need enough. I need a break. And then Kami started on the back end of all that, so he truly is a champ. He can dig in.
He was pretty calm with it.
He told us he regrets not going to everyone's party.
He was the only guy. He's the only guy I think that could.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
First of all, he's not married. He didn't have a girlfriend at the time, or if he did, she was secondary.
Back up.
So back up. He hit more parties, I think, than anybody in our team by quite a bit. I think he doubled the next guy. So if you invited them, obviously it goes to Europe. We had some European players. If he could have timed it properly, he would have went over there and hit every one of them.
I keep saying that'd be a hell of a documentary.
My gosh.
If they would be allowed to. What do these cup keepers do? Like these guys, they have signed some NDA or something, or did they ever look at you like, nope, you can't do that?
Nowadays it's different. Now the cup has to be gone into the hotel by midnight. It has to leave the party at midnight.
That's tough.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shit.
And this is because some guys have the.
I don't know if I like this
midnight.
World now.
Some of the guys in the past have
Disney Channel
put it.
Stuff.
It ended up in some strip joints, and
as it does. That's what
I guess, but they're trying to keep the image. And then the further the night goes, obviously, the more drunk people get, and the less careful they get. And that wasn't the case for us. But our cup keeper, I felt bad for him. He had to go a week straight, and like I said, they do a week on and a week off, and I couldn't imagine because you have to drink, and they drink with us.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
Oh, so they go. I thought they would be like Secret Service.
No,
basically.
man. Well, they're keeping an eye on it, but they're keeping an eye on it with a vodka
with one eye
the whole
they're
time.
Keeping one eye on
if it goes till 5 in the morning, they're there till 5 in the morning.
They can't be out of the sight with it. So
what if you get tired?
They
Figure it out.
figure it out.
Yeah, they figure it out.
So we exactly. So we get back to my place from my party, and I think we shut down at 3 or I don't even know what time we went. Cause I had the benefit of my dad being a policeman. We had police security and police escorts everywhere, so we were in good hands. But we go back to my place. Everybody's passing out, going to bed. And the cup keeper grabs the cup and he takes it into my shower. Now he's got to wash it off because you've got to figure there's 500 people's lips been on this thing all night. And So he washes it off and he leaves it in the room for Bridget and I to sleep with or
Yeah, what you
or do with whatever.
just to look at
just to
and
look
hang
at
out
and-
with
and,
just admire.
Yeah, she just looks at it and goes, "Hey, champ."
Hey, Jim.
Yeah. do you put your chin strap on?
It's time to go. Time to
Yeah,
punch
it's
the
time.
clock.
Yeah, punch the clock. So those guys really do an unbelievable job.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a job. You work in the NHL now. Can you not get a documentary made just following? All right, whoever wins the cup this year, boom, we're following this thing. That'd be the best. You kidding me?
The problem with now in today's day, especially our culture and the way life is, I'm not sure everybody could handle what goes on and what does it.
Forget them.
Yeah, I would say forget them too, but I think the league's trying to keep a certain image, and it would have been great to do back in the day with the Edmonton Oilers back in the '80s when those guys were probably not only were the best, they were the best team. They actually party harder than anybody as well, which was, that's why a lot of their games were really high energy, a lot of goals because they were like, we don't need to play defense.
I love
Respect.
Yeah,
Everything was better.
99. We got 99.
Yeah, dude, just
Yeah, we got 99.
dish
We're
it
fine.
over here.
We're fine.
Wiz
Yeah.
got him correct before
Yeah.
the game.
We got to talk some golf. I mean, we could talk hockey.
Yeah.
We could
I
talk to you for
forgot about
hours.
golf. You
We
play
do have some golf
too.
to talk
Yeah,
about
you're a
because
golfer, dude.
Yeah.
you're a really good golfer, but don't really care about that because you did go to the Olympics over in Rio with Graham DeLaet, fellow golf subpar alum here, and you were on the bag.
I was on the bag.
What was that week like for you? First caddying experience?
That was my first PGA Tour one.
Okay.
I did done some stuff for Julie Inkster in the past, who I've known for the last 25, 30 years. But Graham first asked me, and I said, shoot, I can't do it. I got to get home with the kids. I got to get them back in school and this and that. I got off the phone with him. I told Bridget what he offered me, asked me, and she looked at me like, are you an idiot? Like, you're going. So I called him back. I said, okay, I can do it. And he'd moved on to somebody, but he went back and told the guy, yeah, sorry, I can't
That
do it
poor
now.
guy.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So
God, Bridget runs the show.
oh, I know.
Thank
I know.
God, by the way.
Yeah, they all run the show. If you think they don't, then you're just fooling yourselves. You give in. Just give in. So being around the Olympics, first of all, the whole experience of the Olympics, I got to stay in the village. Everything Graham had, except I had access to the coach's room because I was considered a coach. And now in Canada, we have some of the best beer in the world. And Molson Canadian sponsors, the Canadian team. There's no beer for the athletes, but there's beer for the coaches.
As there should be.
And so I'd go up there.
You earned it.
And I'd have a couple cocktails, a couple beers. I'd load my jacket and I'd take it down to the golf floor because the golfers don't always have. They don't need to be in great condition. And as long as you can keep your eyes open the next day. So it was great. I mean, we were the second off. Brazil was hosting, so they teed off first. Canada being the defending champion back from the 20s. Graham teed off second, and it was an absolute unbelievable, nerve-wracking experience. Actually, as a caddy, it's my math is I thought was good until there's some pressure, and I'm sure you're going to bring this up too. You're such an asshole.
I haven't even said anything.
Yeah, I know it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah,
I know it
it'll
is.
all come, but
So-
just keep going.
So we had a great day the first day. He shot 5 under. He's in second place, and it was truly a great experience. The next day is when things went a little bit sideways as a caddy, and
Is that when you left the pin sheet?
You blew it.
well, I didn't leave
little
the pin
bit.
sheet, but I didn't have a pin sheet. All right,
I get
So-
it, dude. Happens to a lot of great caddies.
So, I'll give Graham credit. We have a Canada that has a golfing coach that isn't Graham's coach in any way, but he's incorporating everybody. He's a great man. And he was putting the pins in the green reading books, which I didn't even know existed. You guys are cheaters, by the way. You need a green reading book. That should be part of the art, I think, of reading a green. But anyway, he put those in there, and I figured he must have figured that was enough because he didn't put the pin sheets back in our books. And I didn't think anything of it. And Graham, I'll never forget it though. Graham hits a 307-yard drive up the right side, and we get out to the ball. And he's looking for his pin sheet. He goes, "Where's the pin sheet? Give me your pin sheet." And I look, I don't have a pin sheet. I'm like, he put the pins in here already. He goes, "I need a pin sheet." Like he had a little bit of a panic look to his face. So I'm like, he was laying it up anyway. He was a par 5. So I just put the bag down. Said, "Pick what you want. Leave it there. I'll be right back." I did. I got a gold medal.
Yeah.
614-yard sprint, and nobody would have run it faster than me. Usain
I
Bolt
believe
would not
that.
have. I was back. I ran so damn fast. The other team was still. The other 3 guys were just still taking their pictures. For the photo, and I ran right by them into the tent, grabbed
Stop your picture.
I grabbed 2 pin sheets, and I ran the 3. And now he's up. Now I got to run with the bag though, so now I got to catch up to him. And
You see how he did that though? He went and got it.
Yeah, so
Sleeze
I ran into a similar situation.
And his player,
Also, this is
he sent his
First hole at
player back.
Colonial.
the player went back and got
Yeah.
it. Oh no!
I offered, by the way. By the way,
offered.
I'm way
It shouldn't
faster
even have
than
been an
Wyndham.
option.
I was like, he's like, no, I'll get it. I'm like, dude, you're way slow. I'm a much better
He obviously was
sprinter
just,
than
he
you
was
are.
obviously just
I
confident.
said, you know what? Actually, yeah, you go get it. I got to get up here and get ready. I got to get my mind right.
I could get your next number.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'll go set the bag down and do nothing until you get
Yeah,
back.
and so being in the Olympics though, and getting to see all the other events, we got to see Michael Phelps swim, we got to see Bolt win the 100, so you got to see a lot of things, and I was, with the Canadian athletes, taking as many pictures with them as I could, and then finally I would send the pictures back home to Bridget and my friends and that, and finally Bridget one day goes, "Are there any males participating in the Olympics this year?"
Bouchard, how you doing?
Yeah, because it was it was all women.
I'm a huge tennis guy.
Big tennis fan. I was with the
I'm a volleyball
the basketball
fanatic.
the basketball players were towering over me. I went hit the boxers. They had the gloves, fists up and touching my jaw, and it was the best. But I told Bridget, there's no males in this Olympics for Canada.
This
it's
is
a
all
female only.
Yeah.
One thing
Stop being sexist, Bridget.
Graham told me I have to ask because you got out there on the track and got amongst it a little bit. With
what'd
the
we
boys.
run?
Tell us a little bit about this. You were in your track suit.
Yeah, we all look the same. I'm in my tracksuit. I look like an athlete still. I was I retired, but I hadn't let myself go just yet, so I was still fit. Or
Very tight.
I looked fit. So we're going to the track and field event, and we go on the track and field bus, and it drops you off right at the practice, at the warm up track. So we kind of go in the back door. We don't have to go through the middle, the main gates or anything. So we walk up the ramp. We find ourselves watching these great athletes warming up, and Usain was on the other side. He was going to go in about an hour and a half. So we sat there, and I said to Graham, I said, "Oh, you want to see me get out there and just do a couple of warm-ups and a couple of knee tucks and some ass kicks?" And so he goes, "I dare you to go out there." So I get there and I start doing the big arm swings, and I start doing, I'm stretching a little bit, and I never stretch, as you know. And I walk across the track. Now I'm inside the track where all the athletes are, and I'm just going back and forth, and I'm doing, high knees, and I'm doing ass kicks, and I'm doing a quick little sprint, and I pretend and meanwhile my credentials are juggling all over the place, and these guys are laughing, and the serious athletes are out there actually warming up.
Meanwhile, there's actually people getting ready to go race
that have worked for 4 years to be in this position. And this little asshole's out there just joking around. And these guys were, him and David O'Hearn, were just dying laughing though. And as I'm about to come across the track and come back to these guys, I don't look both ways. And this, she was a German sprinter, went flying by me. And if I would have went a little bit earlier, she would have ran right over me. She didn't care one bit or nothing. She was flying through there. And I realized how fast that they moved in, and I was like, "Oh man, this girl is really fast.
Yeah,
really fast."
Was Usain checking you out from across? Like, who is this Canadian I've never heard?
He thought
of?
I was DeGrasse.
He must be fast.
DeGrasse,
He's super short.
So Canada actually finished. I think we finished. He got a bronze in that one, or silver. He finished second or third. I can't remember, but watching over there, another great story for him is there's 85,000 people in this arena waiting for the 100. Obviously he gets out there and the place goes crazy, and they're in their blocks, and everybody's got a speaker behind them in their lane. I didn't realize that they had their individual speakers for the gun because they can't hear. They all have to be able to hear it equally. Well, they still can't hear because it's so loud. So Usain Bolt's down, he's in his crouch, and he kind of sits up and he puts his finger to his lips, gives everybody the hush, and 85,000 people just went silent. That's power. That's power.
Yeah.
You can do that. And then 10 seconds later, he had them all doing this.
Yeah.
He had them all hands up because it took no time at all for that. But
That's crazy. What an experience.
It
sweet,
was, especially because I was never going to play in a winter one coming from Canada. I think Canada, we could send 2 teams half the time and still be all right. And now the U.S., I think, are getting close to that as well. But my brother did a little survey. He goes, if I was not Canadian, I probably could have played in 3 or 4 of them if I was from somewhere else. But I'm a proud Canadian, and if I didn't get to play in it,
it's the burden.
It's the burden.
From Fort Saskatchewan. You know what I mean?
From being from
heavy
the
as the
frozen
head
north.
that wears the crown sort of
That's
deal.
right. That's right.
That's incredible.
Let's talk a little more golf before we get
let's
to the
talk a
E9.
little golf. Why don't you play and can you get in Tahoe?
Tahoe's an A-list celebrity event.
What are you?
I'm a B, I guess. I've been
B minus.
I got some good friends who are on it. Yeah, B minus maybe.
Yeah.
Wayne and obviously you guys know Janet's as powerful as Wayne when it comes to outside
More.
the game. Yeah. She always asked, "You want to play?" And then I played a lot with John Elway up in Gosser, who played in a lot of times, and he's offered to get me in too. I'm like, nah, it's a week away from from Gosser.
what?
From Gosser. Okay. It's a week away from Gosser. I would be interested, but like I said, it's
You got to do it
It's
once.
a week off my vacation.
You're a plus
Yes,
2-3 handicap.
Wayne can get you. Hey, do you want in? What time do you want to tee off? Who do you want to play with? And do you want some credit at the casino?
I think the people they have in there now are pretty good. They're some current players and they're some Hall of Famers that are in there. So again, when you're talking an event like that, hockey would be the pretty low on the ladder in terms of what celebrities they want to see there. You football, basketball, the odd baseball guy. I know Mark's been in there a few times. Vinny just won it.
Vinny, dude, you got to keep the rock alive.
I know. So but they're starting another event now in Coeur d'Alene, which Colt's been trying to get in.
First off, I haven't tried. I've been asked if I would like to play, and
interesting.
basically Ray and Brendan Morrow both told me they'd kill me if I showed
Conflicting reports here.
Yeah.
What's the truth?
Well, I think to be honest, they asked if he'd like to play, but I think he thinks he's entitled to actually count and win, and if that. It'll turn to violence then. Brendan and I will turn to violence.
You can have a former pro golfer, although Annika plays in Tahoe, so.
Blair O'Neill plays in.
She played in Coeur d'Alene this year, and she did well. She did very well. Different. Yeah.
I got a FaceTime on the 18th tee. It was the final group was Ray Whitney, Brendan Morrow, and Mark Mulder.
Is that the one Mulder won?
Yeah.
Mulder had a 4-shot lead with one to play.
Yeah.
And this one was pout.
Were you pout fishing?
Don't
be
he had a rough day.
Fish. No, you should be the favorite in that, by the way. You and Mulder are.
I actually had a good first day.
Right there.
You had a great first day.
I had some issues, though. I got to be honest with you. I showed you the picture of what I was going through that night. Have you guys got vaccinated?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So apparently this is what happened. I got it later, 2 months after, but I was dealing with some big issues with this rash I had going, and
that's not COVID, itches, dog.
and I don't know what it was, but later I was told it was a side effect from my shots that I had. But I'm like, I've never been more uncomfortable on a golf course than that day, and that wasn't the full reason. I played like an asshole, but I could not stop scratching. My face was on fire. It was swollen. I had hives. It was.
It's hard to play good golf if you think you have syphilis.
Yeah. When you think you have some kind of disease, incurable disease.
I'm dying.
And Mark played well. Like he always does.
They called me. They're like, should we take out his
Tahoe
name?
though once? Don't go through You're really good at golf right now. You're +3 or 2 or whatever you are. Go play it one time. What are you worried about? You win it, and then people are like, "Who the hell is Ray Whitney?"
Yeah, maybe.
Tough shit. Figure it
well,
out. I'm the Tahoe champ.
Let's get into that real quick because you are +2, +3. You do think highly of yourself around the golf course.
I am pretty confident, yes, as you know.
You like to slap people around up there at Gosser.
Yeah, I do.
But there's a new member that recently joined. A guy by the name of Matt Kuchar, plays on the PGA Tour, who might have served you a little piece of humble pie one day.
Ooh, a little helping for the Wizzy?
Give us a little something about what happened when you decided to pop off to Matt Kuchar.
Well, those of you who don't know me out there, I'm not very tall.
Very good looking, though.
Very handsome.
Yeah, rugged.
Like to in a rugged way. I like to be a little cocky, and so I was fortunate enough to win the club championship. Obviously, Matt's up there. He did not play in it, but I was at dinner with him when he got back, and I had just enough of tequila in me, just enough Dakota Goto in me that I said to him, Matt, just so you know, you're second best on property. Man,
of course.
And
at what, Liz? Yeah.
At golf, you're the second best golfer on property, just so you know. And I actually had them put a club champion on my golf cart up there.
Oh, that's humble.
Just to give it to him. Humility. And he laughed. He goes, okay, what time are you playing tomorrow? And we play at 10:10 every day. I said 10:10, same as always. And so he goes, all right, I'll be there tomorrow. I'm like, okay. He shows up at 10:09 in his pickleball uniform. He hasn't even hit a ball yet. He just came from the pickleball court. Changes into his golf shoes. We go out there, we play. And I'm mouthy right from the start, as I normally am. We're both 3 under through 4. So I'm thinking,
you're hanging.
I'm hanging, and I think you might have had that a little bit of worriedness. Just well, maybe he's not going to fold. And then he went on to shoot a 61, and he ended up beating me by 9. And so the humble pie was served correctly. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know it was going to happen quite like that because he actually missed a couple shorties. He probably could have been 59 easy, but you get humbled by pros who do their sport for a living. Especially when loudmouths think that they can do what you do for a living. Now, I wasn't expecting to beat him. I knew that was going to happen. There's enough great players at Whisper Rock for me to know that. But I didn't know I was going to get an absolute ass whooping like that.
But
So.
you still got to pop on. It's worth it. Same
It's worth
reason
it.
I took the hockey bet. You think I'm
Yeah.
actually going to friggin' rip slap shots from the
Now, what if I win?
No. But there's nothing but upside for you.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
nothing but downside for him.
That's right.
But I love when he just shows up and shoots 61 on you.
With
Yeah,
his pickleball gear.
He didn't even hit a ball. I mean, we played a couple weeks earlier, or prior to that too, and I played with him. He only had half his clubs in his bag. He was just playing 3-wood, and I think he was on odds that day, odd irons only. And so every time he hit, we're on par 5s, he just hit 3-wood. And as soon as he'd hit, I go, just a 3-wood today, huh? And sure,
Just a 61 today, Ray.
Yeah, just another. I mean,
But
you
this goes out
golfers
with
are the
odds?
worst
That's a
because
weird...
you guys, he would hit it, and as it's going in, he looked and he goes, "Well, that's weird." As it's going in, I was like, "God, you can't turn to violence in golf."
He's got a good chirp about him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a sneaky chirp about
Yeah,
him. People don't think he can chirp. He can chirp.
He's the aw shucks, golly gee guy
Yeah.
out on the camera, but
Yeah,
behind
no.
the scenes, he's got some chirp.
He's got some chirp.
From what your wife has told me and for how long I've known you, you're a rather competitive guy.
Yes.
Does golf kind of like fill that void for you since you're away from hockey now?
Yeah, except I'm like you said, I get a pout sometimes. I get a little mad.
A little fishy.
Yeah, a little sour.
Let me tell you what Bridge says. Bridget tells me that he's so competitive, he'll be at the gym and he'll look over at what the senior citizens are doing on the treadmill and make sure that he at least doubles them.
Yeah, I got a sickness on the bike.
Sorry, the bike.
Destroy 70-year-olds. It
doesn't matter.
God bless them, are out working out.
It doesn't matter. If somebody gets on the bike beside me, I'll just sit there and I'll pretend I'm not watching. I'll be looking over, checking their wattage, checking how fast
you're
they're
on
going.
8? I'm on 16.
Like, no, I want them to know that when they look at mine, it's going to be double what you're going.
I hear you're still waiting for a shout out from the Peloton instructors too.
Oh yeah. So
Are you setting records?
I'm always setting records, but so they give you the milestones, the 400 or 500, 450. So I get the I just do online classes, or kind of at your leisure. But as soon as you hit the 400 or the milestones, I'll do a live class just to make. But now there's so many damn people on Peloton. I'm not getting a shout out anymore, so I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Once you don't get the pub,
no, they're not.
Screw it.
They're not
What's the point of
appreciating.
even
They're not
doing it?
appreciating the work I'm putting out here. I mean, I go till I throw up times. And
imagine if the instructors could see you.
they can see how
Oh my
hard I'm
God,
working.
dude.
And because everybody knows I love doing the Peloton, now that I work for the league, our offices are in New York. So I thought I'm going to hit the Peloton studio, the live class. So I go there, and there's not a lot of people there that day. It's my favorite instructor at the time,
Who's that?
Jennifer Jacobs.
Bet it's not a male.
It's not a male.
You're very pro women. I respect that about you.
I think equality everywhere.
guy.
I
Yeah,
want to
you
give
do.
them their attention. So there's a couple empty bikes right on gynecology row there, the first row. So I'm in the back. I'm on bike 13. Why wouldn't I?
Of course.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and the guy running the thing, he comes up and goes, "Hey, there's a spot up here up front for you. If you right up front." And I said, "No, thank you. The last thing I want is for some assholes that I don't know are watching or doing the live class. They know I like the Peloton. If they see me in the front row, with a big smile on my face, giving her all I got in the front row, I'd never hear the end of it. So I said, no, I'm going to stay in the back here where the camera can't get a hold of me. So, you know what? It's a sickness.
Hey, sorry for being great.
Wow.
Sorry for pushing the body to the limits.
Well, I didn't push it this summer very much. I feel like an Oompa Loompa right now.
You're about to go on a
nothing
detox.
No.
Last question before we go to E9. Number one guy, either at Gazer, Whisper Rock, wherever, hockey player or not, that you like to beat the most. Whose money is the best for you?
We're talking with them right now.
This one?
This one.
Oh,
There is one guy I hate giving money to. It's this guy. The second, outside of this, would be John Elway.
Very comparable people.
You get up there.
Just two all-timers.
Yeah, you get up there in Gaza and we're playing, and there's lots of games and there's lots of money flying around, and we'll just play a modest little, game between us. It has nothing to do with monetary.
Yeah, just pride.
It's just I love NFL money, and he loves NHL money, and man, if I could lose to everybody, if I beat him, I'll walk off with a smile, and it's vice versa with the two of us. He's an unbelievable individual, but man, he is as competitive as they come as well. So it's great for me to see other athletes and see how they are away from their sport and what they are. We're all the same. We got to where we were because of who we are, and it's so different with athletes of any other sport.
I'll say one really cool thing he does. There's a lot of athletes up there, a lot of hockey players, obviously Elway. He gets all the T-shirts of the team they played with, their name and number on the back, and that's what he plays golf in. every day. So he'll have Gretzky, he'll have Hull, even Morrow. He found a few of those laying around.
Everyone.
They
In
make those?
fact, if you even played college golf somewhere, I'd wear an SMU and put Colt on the back, or if you played like J.J. Dudum from Discovery, he was a place kicker for USC at one point. I don't know how much he kicked, or if he was.
Can we verify that?
Walk on.
It could be a walk on. I'm not sure what it is, but I'll wear whoever's T-shirts, and that's what's great about Discovery Land Properties is that you can wear T-shirts. I know it's not traditional golf people.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
You
but
can get
it's
dusted by dudes in pickleball gear.
yeah. I mean,
That's a great spot.
It's a great place to be.
It is the best spot.
All right. Well, we could go.
Now we go.
Forever with this, but let's go to the emergency 9. You know this 9 fun questions to learn even more about Raymond Whitney. Number 1, we've changed this recently. You could trade lives with anyone in the world, dead or alive, for a day. Who would it be?
For a day.
You want to be me?
No, I don't want to be you.
You going to skate fast?
You're fun. I'd want to be a rock star. To be honest with you. I think I like a Kid Rock or like a Bon Jovi. Somebody and these guys maybe Motley Crue's lead singer, maybe Tommy Lee. Like I want to be a heavy metal rock
Tommy
band.
Lee, huh?
Tommy, I want to be.
Why would you want to be Tommy?
Because I'd want to be
something you'd like to.
I'd want to be blessed with what he was toting between his legs, and then a couple of the women he was. I mean, there's many reasons why, but
there's a lot of reasons.
But I've always said if I was not an athlete, I would love to be a heavy metal rock star. I'd be dead by 50. I understand that because that's my nature. I would.
But what a ride!
Well, what a ride it would be. Yeah, I mean, Keith Richards is still alive. I know Mr. Watt passed away, but I don't know how he's still alive. So I mean, I would be a rock star.
There's so much good medicine these days. You can
I'd find a way.
pretty much anything.
Your Codigo man.
I feel
George
like being
Strait's going to be
as
disappointed.
Well, he knows I love country music, but I love crazy parties.
He wants to be a rock star.
Yeah.
Being as humble as you are, I feel like we should just ask him, actor. Play a movie about the life of Ray Whitney. Who do you got?
Who's going to play me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be Rob Lowe or Tom Cruise, one or the other.
I was going to say, I like the Rob Lowe is perfect.
Oh,
So
yeah,
and to I gotta be
that's
honest.
the only guy pretty enough.
Well, when I was in school, I did get those thrown at me.
That you look like Rob Lowe?
Yeah,
What kind of
all the
school
time.
for freaking idiots did you go
I know.
to?
I mean,
There
was
was
it a
200 people
school
in the
for the
whole town.
blind? Did you go to?
we had one high school.
Yeah.
We had one high school.
You look like Rob Lowe.
Yeah, like I said, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and those of you who've never seen a good hockey film with Rob Lowe in it, there's one called Youngblood. If you've never seen Youngblood,
I have not seen it.
it's Rob Lowe's the hockey player in it, but it's a good junior. It's about a junior hockey. It's
I'm
pretty
gonna
good.
Check it out.
All right,
It's pretty good.
Youngblood. Peep that.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
As Ray Whitney. Okay, here we
Yeah.
go. All right, you've been inside the ropes twice as a caddy on the PGA Tour, right? If you want to count the Olympics as a PGA Tour. Once for Graham DeLaet and once for my guy Colt here at the Waste Management. Who's easier to caddy for after caddying for both of those guys?
Graham.
Why?
Because Colt's a dick.
I never said one thing to you.
That's my point. That's my
what
point.
makes Colt hard to caddy for?
Well, because he's
Dig in here.
Here's why. We had 2 different yardage books. I have the current yardage book they give us,
This is not true at all.
and he has one that has different numbers on it. You had different numbers on yours, so we're adding shit. And I'm looking, and he likes to go. Tour guys want to go to the front of the green. I'm like, just here. When I play, I just give you a number and you hit it.
Yeah.
That's much. You grab your little rangefinder and you hit it.
155.
155 and you hit
Stack
it.
it.
But now we got to find out. Okay, we got to be 142 to the front, and now we got 155. So and then. And I gotta be honest with you, neither one of them were hard to be with. Colt was possibly your last one.
It was going to be
So
the last. Yeah.
there might be a little bit more stress with that. And Graham, when we went to the Olympics, we had some fun. It was just a great experience. We were both going to enjoy it. I really wanted to make the cut with Colt on his possibly last one, and there was some pressure with that. I gotta be honest with you. And I didn't want to be the guy to fudge it up, and then. Of course, Waste Management, you go into the 16th, we're on there, and I walk in there with all these people. I'm like, I'm glad it's you hitting this shot.
Here's an
This
Because-
dude was
iron, bud.
nervous on
Because,
16.
geez.
Was there caddy races when you went? Or was
No,
that
there
already
weren't, but I
gone?
made
That
sure.
Sucks that they got rid of
But
that.
the people were still doing it. I could tell the crowd was
You'd
doing it.
crush in that.
And I knew they were still doing that, so I would
I would
go and
stack
I would
on
slow
that
down,
in the
and I would
stands.
slow down, and I could hear them murmuring that because I knew, especially on I think it's 10, 11, 12, they were really paying attention. The one group there, and I would slow down and I'd start picking it up real fast, and then I'd slow down. I hear the crowd go. I felt like I was like a from the orchestra leading them up and then going down. Yeah.
Friday, he's over there flexing his calves to the gallery. Okay, let's get that straight.
The gallery?
Right.
No, to the gallery.
Oh, to the
Just
gallery.
all 20,000 people.
Yeah, some guy said something about my calves, so I did like a little Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of side pose and kind of flexed it to him.
You probably walk
Actually,
onto 16 like, God, all these people are looking at me.
I thought for sure they were there for
Hey,
me.
I don't blame you, bro. I got it at Cologne.
Yeah.
The same shit.
I know.
Like,
So,
man.
and he, I don't even remember, cleaning off his ball or doing anything. I was just too busy looking around.
How did my calves
Like,
look?
I was having a blast. But in saying that too, I almost came over the back on 18.
Oh, yeah.
On 18 tee box, some jerk back there says something, shitty about Colt or to him about this, and it kind of was right when he was getting ready to hit.
It was. I backed off.
He
yeah.
backed off, and I read, and I was like, I don't know. Do you want me to go?
You want me to
do you want me to get into this guy?
End this human?
I'm not a fighter in hockey, but I'm pretty sure I can handle that guy. Like I was pissed off for Colt. He was playing well at the time too, and this guy's just being a jerk for no reason. And then I know they get it. You guys get that a lot because people are, Bryson just got that after the loss yesterday, and some asshole said Brooksy to him as he's walking. I mean, it's part of the game, I suppose. But that was, that was tough.
Well, you mentioned you wanted to go fight the guy. Let's talk a little bit about. We mentioned earlier how fighting's a great part of hockey.
Yeah.
Let's. What would you say your 22-year NHL career? What was your record in fighting?
0.
0-0. But you have one.
I got in one.
That sounds like 0-1.
I got in one. I got to be, so I was with San Jose at the time. We're in LA playing the Kings, and I'm out there with a couple tough guys too. And I got into it with this guy. He's a Czech, and now typically back in those days, Canadian, U.S. players, we weren't too worried about the Europeans because they don't fight a lot, right? So this guy hits me, and I turn around, and I give him one. Then he drills me right in the nose, and he's 6'3", but he's a European, so I think I can handle him.
So he's obviously weak.
He's always soft.
He's an inferior human.
And that changed over the years. But
Yeah.
So I drop the gloves, and we throw 2 or 3, and then my line mate, who's actually really tough, Owen Nolan, he was a first overall draft pick by the Quebec Nordiques. He sees me in a fight with this guy 6'3", so he wastes no time. He turns in, and he comes in. Now they all start coming. Now there's 10 guys, and it's a melee, and they're all jumping in. They're trying to protect me, and I'm in there. Now the big guys are fighting. And I get out of this little pile, and I see this guy I'm going to fight. He's down on the ground, and his face is exposed. So I'm going to go drill him. I'm going to give it to him.
He's vulnerable.
He's vulnerable, and I'm going to sucker him. And the ref at the time, the linesman, who was 6'7", might have been the strongest guy in the ice. He sees what I'm going to do at the corner of his eye, and he grabs my shirt with one hand while he's breaking up a fight in the other, and he lifts me up, and my feet are turning, and I can't get to this guy.
Speedy
Gonzalez. I'm not going anywhere, right? And then so he pulls me up. Long story short, we all get thrown in the penalty box, and the ref, who used to be a fighter in the minors, he comes in, he goes, 5 for this guy, 5 for that guy, 5 for that guy. Whitney gets a double minor for roughing, and I'm like, no, that's a 5. I needed my first 5
minutes. For people who don't know, 5 minutes is fighting.
5 minutes for fighting. Just like that. So I'm like, that's a 5. And he stops, turns around, and goes, first of all, that's not a fight. He goes, and then all you did was cause a shitstorm out here, so I'm giving you 4. Yeah, he was so mad at me. He was mad at me for the next 5-6 games we played just because I just caused a shitstorm.
So 22 years, you technically never went down in the books for a fight.
No, I did get called for a third man in. A teammate of mine in Florida was getting his ass kicked, and the linesmen were sitting around with their thumbs up their ass doing nothing. So I went and jumped in on this guy. And
Sucker punch, little club.
No,
punch.
I just clotheslined him and pulled him back in a chokehold, and then I got kicked out of that game for that. But if you look at my career penalty minutes, it ends in an odd number.
Perfect.
And
there you go.
and I didn't get 5 for that. I got 5 for I went to play in the World Championships for Canada. Played this, and there's no fighting in the World Championships in international hockey. So we're playing the Finns, and this guy who plays in the NHL for LA, he's a real jerk, and he's acting like a tough guy at the Worlds. And I said, I'm going to get you next year. I'm going to get you next year.
Next year
in the league, in the NHL. Not
Sleep on that, buddy.
I can't get you here. So we played him in LA, and he lines up beside me, and I'd already asked him to fight a couple times. And he's bigger than me, obviously. Everybody was. I'm like, why wouldn't he fight me? Like, geez.
You ask him?
Yeah.
That seems so weird.
And he went, and so the puck drops, and it was just in front of our bench, and I buried about 6 inches of my butt end right in his stomach as hard as I could. And down he went. He dropped. He couldn't catch a breath. He was choking down there himself. And the linesman at the other side caught me doing it. And I got a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for it. But I felt much better.
And now you handle player safety. In the
And now I'm
NFL.
player safety.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, next one. This is gonna test. I'm gonna test your friendship with our good friend Mike Commodore here. All right, you're driving in the middle of a snowstorm. Okay, you see a guy stranded on the side of the highway. He's hitchhiking. He's asking for a ride. That person is Mike Babcock. Do you give him a ride?
No.
That's the guy. That's
Love
the
it.
freaking guy. That's friendship.
Yeah.
Do you personally have anything against Babcock, or is that just strictly loyalty to Kami?
That's loyalty to Kami.
Respect.
I didn't have any experiences with Mike Babcock. But after I left Detroit, the year I left, Mike Babcock took over, and there wasn't a lot of good things said about him from players I played with the year before. That was before Kami even got there. But Kami already had his experiences. But no, I'd be with Mike, Kami. I'd be with
Respect.
Yeah,
just
Babcock
So
beat it.
all the shit Kami said, like that's all justified.
it's all justified.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know nothing about hockey or pretend to. Mike Babcock, he's on my Billy Madison list.
Yeah, no, and especially me being with Mike Commodore having a special place in my heart. It's 100%.
Tough break, Mike.
See you later.
Hoof it. It's 20
Hoof it.
miles to the
Put the
next
snowshoes
town
on.
to Fort
Put the
Saskatchewan.
snowshoes on.
Yeah.
All right, next question. You have 3 wonderful kids.
Yeah.
One of them I'm terrified of.
Yes.
But what would you say is the biggest lie or fib you've ever told them?
Oh, I've got many of them. But
As any good dad does.
as every good dad does. So when they were all, my youngest wasn't born yet, but the other two were of young age. They're in elementary school, and we were watching. I don't know. We were watching Olympics. We were watching something with the Olympics, and it was diving was on. And I had my kids convinced that I was an Olympic diver for Canada, and my nickname was the Little Torpedo.
There it is.
Little torpedo.
And my kids were telling their friends at school.
My dad's a little torpedo.
My dad was not that he's a hockey player. My dad dove in the Olympics for Canada. They called him the Little Torpedo. And then as they got older, I'd always tell a story. I'd always tell a fib. And they'd say about their school. I said, you know what? When I went to school, they used to call me the Little Einstein. And it was whatever it was always
Little.
the little.
Yeah.
The little.
Einstein.
Yeah. I was, and then now my daughter, obviously they got to an age, and then my son is who is nothing little about him. He's 6'5".
You sure he's yours?
Not positive. I'm paying the bills, so I'm claiming him.
I've been meaning to tell you something, but
Yeah.
then now-
Yeah. So I asked Bridget. He was funny. He said that he did ask my wife that about a year ago.
That
6
is
months.
unbelievable.
He goes, "Hey, is Dad really my dad?" 'Cause she
There's
goes,
no way.
and my wife, to her credit, goes, "Well, if he's not, I sure missed a hell of a party because I don't remember it."
That's too good.
Oh God! Your dad was the doctor. They called me the little brain surgeon.
That's right.
Dad, wow,
Yeah.
you did so many things.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
The little torpedo.
Oh,
That's
the
my
little,
Oh, it's the
I love
best.
that torpedoes, the diving thing. I mean, I don't fucking know.
yeah. And then, so that's to this day, I'd put on the speedo, and
Of course you would.
As
Yeah.
a dad does.
Yeah,
as a
and I would do a
typical
couple dives, and then, I taught them the Johnny Ass Cracker, and so,
dad. Johnny Asscracker.
yeah, instead of a cannonball, it's just you throw your leg straight outside, straight out, and just land on your ass. And we called it in Canada, we called it the Johnny Ass Cracker. And so I teach every kid
They
that.
called me the little ass cracker
Yeah.
back in the day.
Teach every kid that.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah,
That's smart.
yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Your kids will be so well adjusted. All right, here we go. Next one. You got the fastest hat trick in NHL history, as far as I'm aware. 1 minute, 40 seconds. Is that why Bridget, God bless her, calls you the 2-minute man? Is that where that came from?
I think she called me that before that.
Yeah.
I think she called that before that, but that just solidified it.
Yeah,
that solidified
You
it.
get a lot done in a minute 40.
I tell you what, this thing moves. I move fast. Yeah,
The little torpedo. Bud.
yeah, the little engine that could, man. I don't waste.
You
I mean,
go.
there's so many times I feel bad for her. There's so many times
God bless her.
I just say I owe you one.
She's a sweetheart.
She's the best.
That's weird. I
we
was
have a
talking
bit of
with
a
her
thing,
earlier.
but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
you're
talking
not
with her
alone.
earlier, and I
Which
told her
is
how
real.
lucky she was.
Yeah, because
Yeah, because you're incredible. She's lucky.
I keep
That's
telling her that
interesting.
too, and
She's echoed different.
yeah, she probably have a different
to me.
sentiment of that.
Yeah.
I mean, she goes, "Really? What's lucky about that?"
Yeah.
I mean,
But real quick on that hat trick, minute 40.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell
Were
happened?
they taking a dive? I mean,
So-
is that even possible?
no. So we were in Boston, and Peter Laviolette.
God.
It's a
What a
great.
legend.
It's
Who
a
is
great.
this
my
crazy
favorite
person?
coach.
It's a great story, but he's one of my favorite coaches of all time. But he's from Boston, so we'd go into town, always spend more days in Boston than we usually do on any other road trip, and it's halfway through the game, halfway through the second period, and we're not playing very well. He tells our team services guy, we're not supposed to practice the next day. We have a scheduled day off. He goes, find me some ice here in Boston. I don't care where it is. It could be a high school. It could be these guys are going to get it tomorrow because that's how bad we're playing. And then I scored one, kind of just a bounce to me. I put it in. I stayed on the ice. I scored again. I go off the ice. He puts me right back out, and I score. Now we're up. Now after the second period, we're up 5-1 or 5-2.
Practice is canceled.
Practice is back canceled. And it was just kind of a freak thing. Like there was nothing. It wasn't all me doing. A lot of it was me though, because I put it in.
Well, no, maybe a lot of it was me.
Don't give credit to anyone else. That was you putting it in.
Yeah, that's right. But it was kind of surreal. But I didn't realize it was that fast. But I should have, because all of a sudden it happened just like that. But I think somebody just broke it this year.
How does a coach yank? Like I said, don't pretend to know about hockey. If a guy in basketball or any other sport is filling it up, you don't pull him off the ice. Leave the kid out there.
You can't stay out there. You get tired.
Because if
it ain't taking that long though. He got 3 in a minute 40. How tired can you be?
People ask you like, okay, how do you know when to change? How do you know when to come off? I'm like, okay, I want you to go on a track and I want you to sprint as hard as you can for 45 seconds.
No problem.
Okay, so you sprint for 45 seconds. Yeah, no problem. Now, can you go another 45 seconds? Probably not. Your legs fill up. In hockey too, every time you stop, it's like 4 Gs going through your legs. It's a lot of force. And then you got to tow a guy like, a little bit heavier than you. He's leaning on top of you. Your legs get heavy quickly. And so that's why you change. So after the first 2, they're like, okay, we'll get them off. They're getting tired. And then he gave me a shift off and he put me back out there with our line, and then we scored. So it was fast, and Bridget solidified her 2-minute, whatever you called it, 2-minute
2-minute man.
2-minute man.
She always called you that. I never knew why. It was about the hat trick. I
told you.
As a hockey player, though, now
you get it.
I understand.
Now you get it.
All right, number 7. All right, obviously, we played an individual sport, so this doesn't really happen quite as much. But in team sports, I feel like there's a lot of pranking that goes on amongst the team. You're around each other all the time. You're traveling together. And I heard you like to participate in a few pranks here and there. What was the best one you ever did during your NHL career?
Best one I did was in Florida. It was the last day of the season. We were missing the playoffs, so it was our last official practice. We had a morning skate the next day before our last game, but that was it. My dad, being a policeman, they have a thing called sneak powder, and sneak powder is used to be able to catch thieves within a company, from the till or something. You could dust some $100 bills down or dust whatever you want, and once you pick it up and you get this invisible dust on your hands, and as soon as it gets wet, so next time you wash your hands or get shower or anything, it turns bright purple. And it doesn't come off. It takes a week for it to come off. So he sent me a bag of it. And I thought, this would be great. I'm going to go in there. I got there nice and early. I got into the players' underwear. And I did. In Florida, people wear shorts and sandals to the game. So I put it in like 5 or 6 guys' socks. One guy I did head to toe. And
why that guy?
Because he was one of my favorite guys. He was dating Nikki Taylor at the time. And he's a good-looking guy. He didn't drink. He's just a fun, just kind of a serious guy. Good friend of mine, but I thought, this would be great. I'd love to see him walk out through the fans just looking like Barney Purple. Like Barney Purple. So I did this to these guys, and we get out there on the ice, and we start skating. Now you start sweating, and after 10 minutes or first water break, guys go to get a water, and they take their hands out of their gloves, and they go to take a drink, and their hands are turning purple. They're like, what the F is it? Like, what is it? And now I can't take a drink. I can't stop laughing, but I can't let them know I'm laughing. So I'm doing everything I can not to. Some guy's got a purple streak across his forehead because he must have wiped his forehead after he put his socks on or something. He's got a purple streak going across his forehead, and I cannot stop. I'm like, I can't practice. I basically couldn't practice. I was trying to get, and then so the practice, it was at our practice rink at the time. So practice is over. Coach says, okay, we're done. Anybody wants to stay? Or I leave right away. I'm gone because I know what's going to happen. They're going to know it's me right away. I'm the first guy who gets blamed for everything. And I don't even shower. I just put my clothes on. And I'm like, I'll shower at home. I'm just jumping in my car and going. And everybody was doing the same thing. Everybody was coming off right behind me. I'm like, oh, shit. And now guys are taking their equipment off, taking their skates off, and their white socks that they wear in their skates are Barney purple. And they're like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like,
weird. I don't have it.
I don't have it on mine. And, and then, so I go home, and my phone was lighting up when I got home. They were going to kill me. I blamed the guy, a Hall of Famer, Dino Cicerelli, who hadn't been in the lineup, but he showed up. I was blaming him the whole time. Like, it's got to be Dino. Nothing's happened like this until he shows up. And, and so, but there's nothing they could do about it because the next day was a game day. And it was our last day of the season. So I was like, oh, perfect.
So they're purple all the next day.
So
Their feet were Barney
for
purple.
a week?
Well, if you wanted to sit into 1-to-1 bleach, you put your feet in a bucket of bleach for an hour and a half. That hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
So a couple guys had to.
So the one dude was just head to toe purple
Barney
for
purple.
a week.
He was Barney purple
Tough
from head
break.
to toe. His tackleberry and everything was his.
Tackleberry.
Everything was purple.
That's great.
Can your dad still get this?
My gosh,
we could
yeah.
use some of this.
I mean,
is this
but
still around?
I would do everything. So if a guy just taped a stick and he put it beside, he put it somewhere before practice. I always I was the last one to dress all the time. I'd just grab their stick and move it. I would, and it wouldn't be much, but this guy would be looking for 5 minutes for a stick before he went on the ice at practice. Or the trainer, the strength coach. I used to not like the strength coaches. I would take a drill and I would drill their sneakers to the bottom of their locker. And they go in the morning, they pull their sneakers out that's bolted to the floor. I mean,
You're a little shithead.
Oh yeah, I was the worst.
You don't say.
I was the worst.
That's hard to believe.
There's so many that I had. I would cut guys' sticks so they would, the first 3 shots it would break. So
Nice.
They go grab another one. It would break. I mean, it was just.
And now you hand out punishment to guys in the NHL.
Yeah,
It seems
yeah.
all
It seems all fitting,
Just
isn't it?
all right. Yeah, you're the
It's right
everybody
there.
authority figure.
Everybody
on-
wants to give guy 2 games, right? 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
17.
Let's hit them hard.
Actually, yeah. Let's teach them a lesson.
All right, number 8.
Is it my turn?
It's
All
your
right.
turn.
Confirm or deny, prior to our hockey competition, you actually pooped into the chin strap of my helmet. There's not a smell on the planet. That was the whole strategy, but I'm convinced that you're like, I'm going to smoke this kid out. He's going to be too good. But if I can make him just if I can just weaken him over time with his poop chin strap, I can actually beat him.
There was not a poop chin
It
strap.
was the worst. It hadn't been washed in 7 years.
So our 7 years, our boys, they had their own locker room last year, but they do not wash their gear.
You don't say.
They take it off. What I would make them do is wash their the underwear that they put on underneath it, but their actual hockey gear. We would try to we get the disinfectants. We'd spray it down every couple days, but that's not going to get rid of the smell.
I'm aware.
It is bad, and I used to always think my gloves. I always thought my hands smell like popcorn. I thought my sweat, and I would go home and say, "Hey, Bridge, smell my hands. They smell like popcorn." Because you can't get it off you, like you said. It sticks with you a little
like
bit.
a skunk.
Yeah, it sticks with you. And
Dude,
and my wife, she disagreed. It does not smell like popcorn. It smells like shit.
The helmet I had, which obviously I have the biggest kids helmet on the team
my God.
because
You
we
have-
tried 5 on before. I have a melon, dude.
I didn't realize you're like a bison.
Yeah, dude, I'm a large. There's a lot of brains. Up
You know
in
what they
this
say
bitch.
about big heads?
It's like
Yeah, big hats.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a NASA launch center up here. I put that thing on. I was like, I don't know that I can stay conscious to get around the ring.
It's so bad.
It was the worst thing I've ever
Sports
smelled.
equipment is just the worst, by far the worst.
You got to get those. They're just gonna
It's
break
disgusting.
that rash you had. That'd be the least of their concerns.
Yeah,
if you don't
they'd
wash
be
some of
happy with
shit.
that.
Yeah.
Well, this should lead into.
I knew that was it. It was a conspiracy.
This should lead into something really nice for our
you
last
go.
question of the day. Obviously, you mentioned earlier line shifts, how they're pretty quick. Maybe minute and a half normal.
No, 30 seconds, 45.
30, 45. What would you say is the quickest line shift you ever had in your career?
December 26th, 2008.
You don't remember?
I had a 9-second shift to start the game, and
For what reason?
I accidentally, I thought I shit my pants.
Yeah, there it is.
And
During the national anthem?
during the national anthem, with
That's disrespectful.
16,000 people standing up for the anthem, singing, and an honorary starter, a 12-year-old kid who's full equipment standing beside me. Those of you guys who don't know the Canadian traditions, up in Canada for Christmas we eat a lot of cabbage rolls. It's heavy Ukrainian up there. So for 2 days, we get 2 days off for Christmas. We played on the 23rd. We got 24, 25 off. We played Florida the 26th. And I've been eating cabbage rolls for 2 days straight. So game time, I'm on the, obviously cabbage does a lot of things to a lot of people. Usually it makes them gassy. So I'm going to sneak one out. And I did more than sneak one out. And for those of you who don't know, I wear compression shorts on my legs. So now these are tight shorts. And it wasn't a wet fart. It was full blown. I'm like, oh no. Now what? I didn't know if I was allowed to not start, if I could leave or whatever. So the anthem ends. Everybody leaves. Normally you do a hot lap. You kind of get your legs going again. Take a quick sip of water, do your chin strap up. I just leaned forward on my skates and just kind of coasted to my starting line position. Just stood there and put my chin strap on. I'm like, I'm very uncomfortable right now. So our centerman who wins the face-off, we go D to D. He gets to the red line, he dumps it in, and I skate in there as hard as I can with my legs like 2 feet apart, not even coming near each other. I'm just chopping the ice. I take a swing at the puck, I turn, and I just chop my way right past the forward door to the defenseman door, which is the tunnel back to our locker room, straight to the locker room, straight to the handicap stall because I need a lot of room to get undressed. And trainers come running there. Are you okay? They thought I pulled my groin again. I'm like, no, I need a garbage bag and a full new set of underwear. And I had to change, shower. By the time I come out, it was like 8 minutes left in the period. And, I started the game, and it was 8 minutes left. Hockey time, 12 minutes is like 20 minutes. It took me 20 minutes to come back in. I'm walking.
It's a lot of gear.
A lot of gear to get on, all the way undressed, shower, all the way back on. I come back on the bench, and I'm walking behind the players in front of the coaches. And Peter Laviolette, he goes, "What, did you shit your pants?" And I kind of looked at him like, "Yep." And so now he's dying laughing on the bench. He can't stop laughing for the rest of the period because he's looking down at me. He goes, "What's the matter with you?"
9-second shift. Well played.
9 seconds.
Hey, I need one quick tap the helmet.
Yeah.
Was it during O Canada or the
No, it's Star
Banner?
Spangled.
Oh,
Star
it's
Spangled.
disrespectful.
Sing faster.
Disrespectful.
Sing faster.
Dragging out that high note. Whitney Houston.
Ray,
We love you.
dude, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
You're the best.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are best.
Well, that was Ray Whitney on Golf Subpar. I mean, what a guy, Sleeze. How about him popping off to Matt Kuchar?
Yeah, perfect.
Ray, we out on the ice, bud.
Yeah.
You're the second best player at Gazer.
Yeah, exactly. That's just pretty much prototypical Wiz. He ain't afraid to pop off to anybody. He's got some good lip. He's got some good game to back it up, but Matt Kuchar, a little different ball game than the club championship at Gaza Ranch.
No doubt. But I mean, just think about, like, he had an unbelievable career. Over 1,000 points in the NHL. Not many people have done that. 22 years. But for a little guy that did it more with speed and his skating, I mean, he's built for today's NHL, where they don't hit you and fight as much.
Yeah, it seems like that type of game translates to this day's NHL a lot better than it was before. And I'm just shocked that he played for so many different teams. It was like short stints here, short stints there. It's like the guy was putting up points every single place he went. Why is he not getting a long-term deal somewhere? It's like they kept moving him along. But I guess, like, he's one of the guys that's the most quote-unquote underappreciated NHL guy in history because he did put up so many points, but it's not brought up all that often.
There was an article that once came out on ESPN that said, top 10 worst players with 1,000 points. I'm like, this is the shittiest article. And his face was the cover of the article.
You're automatically, by definition, not a shitty player if you get it that. That's like shittiest players to win 3 majors.
Yeah.
They're not in any.
Yeah. But, man, like I said earlier, like, he caddied for me in my last event. It was so cool to share that moment with him. He was so supportive out there. We had so much fun. I'll never forget. I was right around that cut line on Friday. I birdied 7 to get what we thought was like one inside it, but ended up being on it. I birdied 7. He fist pumped me. He goes, "Way to give your balls a squeeze." I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the first caddy that's ever said that to me.
Yeah.
That's such hockey terminology.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he'd be, as a caddy, because he's caddy for Graham DeLaet too down at the Olympics. Like, he almost, not that he has too much energy, but like if things start going well, like hockey, they get fired up. And in golf, you kind of need to stay like even keel, like let's keep it going, all that type of stuff. I feel like he's not of that mindset. Like if things are going good, you're gonna know they're going really good.
One of my favorite dudes on the planet, though. He is a blast. You think you're gonna take another run at him?
I'm not ruling it out. After spinning, however long that was on ice, by the time I got done, I started to feel a little bit more comfortable out there. I think I could have a different strategy in terms of the hit. The puck lifting, without practice, it's a no dice. 0% chance. I was shocked that I couldn't even get that thing in there. Although the knuckle puck would have landed, which technically by the rules that were in place would have counted. But that was fun. We're going to re-release that video because it's been a while now since that took place. But we're going to go ahead and throw that back up there. A nice little documentary did on the entire day and all the bets that took place. And shout out to Wiz for getting that done and just for getting in the ring and just taking some hits. That bet was like 5 years in the making.
Yes, it was great. I loved seeing it. And by the way, he also won a Stanley Cup with our guy, Mike Commodore.
What a team that must have been. It was like the Red Sox winning that big group of idiots, and Manny was out there in like left field, and he would just disappear in the Green Monster and take a piss during like the middle of the game. I feel like that was the equivalent of that Hurricanes team, like in hockey, just a bunch of idiots. Commodore walking around with his robe on, Wiz playing pranks and popping up during the pregame interviews and all that stuff. I love the Where's Whitney.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also continued with another great shitting your pants story here on Golf Subpar.
That is a constant theme. If you're going to come on this show, please come with your best I shit my pants or someone else shit their pants story. That's kind of one of our staples.
Well, special thanks to our guy, Ray Whitney, for coming on. It was a lot of fun. Our longest interview to date, too.
Yes.
The man can talk. We had a lot of fun with him. But Sleeze, the NFL is back. Our guys over at FanDuel Sportsbooks wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. And this week, we're getting amongst it on Thursday night. We've got the New York Giants and the Washington football team battling out. I hate both of them, but I'll be tuned in because we're going to be firing some of these same-game parlay. You can do all kinds of prop bets. You can take an outright winner, over-unders, whatever. Same-game parlay, bet it, $10. You get your money back if you lose. No big deal.
Free money. If you're into free money, this Thursday night's a good time to get after it. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, there's also offering a risk-free $1,000 bet if that's more up your alley. Just sign up with the promo code Subpar. If your first bet loses, you get up to $1,000 back in site credit. Again, that is promo code Subpar. Not a bad little deal there. Just go bet a quick GUR. If it doesn't hit, run it back again. That's the type of deal I'm into right there. You got to be 21 and up and present in New Jersey. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you got a gambling problem, which a lot of us do, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
And also, Sleeze, sports gambling just became live in Arizona. Our
Praise
home state here.
Jesus.
Here we go. It is time. This is going to be so much fun. But first, you have to be 21 years and older and present in Arizona or New Jersey. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG or call 1-800-NEXTSTEP or text NEXTSTEP to 53342. All right, Sleeze. Thank God golf's back because we gave some expert football picks last week on our FanDuel segment, and we went 0 for 2.
In our defense, we said, look, we don't claim to be experts. I'm speaking for myself here. I bet a Grizz games this week. Did not have a great weekend, but I'm more of a aim and fire guy. I see a line, I'm like, oh, boom, immediately off the gut feeling, whatever it is. I bet it. And I bet with TCU, -10. We looked terrible. Greased out a win against Max Homa's California Bears. But we're actually, we should be patting ourselves on the back. We said we didn't know what the hell we were talking about, and we were right. So we were right.
We basically just told you to go the other way.
And
if you did,
Tennessee
you'd have gone 2-0.
Almost had Arizona.
Oh, my
until
God.
They kicked
By
off.
the way, shout out to the Arizona Cardinals. Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, they looked good.
They are the Week 1 Super Bowl champions. Most impressive team in the NFL Week 1. We'll see if that keeps going, but they won the Super Bowl Week 1.
Just throw it up and let DeAndre Hopkins go get it.
Yeah, or Christian Kirk, just throw it up to him. He seems to move his bodies in ways that I've never seen before. Or also just give them the ball and let JJ Watt and Chandler Jones just eat the quarterback.
Oh,
they look nice.
Thank God football is back. I love it. But you know what? Thank God golf is back. Finally something we actually know a little bit about. But we're still going to bet on football.
Got a fighting chance, of course. Yeah.
But FanDuel, obviously the best sports book in all the world. But we got PGA Tour back in action after a 1-week hiatus. The Fortinet Championship out in Napa. Boys going to be drinking some good wine out there. Go check out Chef Thomas Keller. A little French Laundry maybe.
Perhaps.
John Rahm is the overwhelming favorite, Sleeze. Plus 450 on FanDuel. No big deal. I mean, that's kind of scary.
That's not quite the return I look for if I'm picking an outright winner. I mean, that's going back to like early 2000 Tiger type of lines, like 3-1, 4-1.
Is there any worry about him maybe looking ahead a little bit? Because next week's the Ryder Cup.
I mean, he's come off a bunch of golf in a row, a bunch of good golf in a row. This is Napa. I always thought, like, talking to the guys, like, some guys, this is a popular one to bring the wives to. They get to go out there and drink some wine, and it's kind of a way to ease into the season. It's not the most pressure-packed event on the PGA Tour, but some guys, it's a huge opportunity. But I think Rahm, with the Ryder Cup coming up and the stretch that he's been on, I'm not saying it's a pack-it-in type of week. I don't think Rahm has pack-it-in his arsenal, but I also don't think it has his full attention like the playoffs had and the Ryder Cup will have.
Yeah, and listen, this is a new season. Everybody starts at 0 now. So great chance to get off to a really good start. Awesome golf course, Silverado Golf Club. Old school, pretty short, tight, can get really bouncy and firm. And like we said, John Rahm, overwhelming favorite. We got Hideki Matsuyama in the field. Webb Simpson's in the field after not making the Ryder Cup team. A guy that should play really, really well around there. But, I mean, I'm looking at it from a gambling perspective. And obviously, it's hard to bet a guy at 4.5 to 1.
Yeah, it's almost, if you're picking a winner, I need more payback than that.
So I'm going to go with a guy 33 to 1. Could be arguably be the most popular win ever if he could get it done when he gets it done. HV3, Harold Varner III, loves this place. I think he's, his game, he continues to get better every single year. I think the first win is coming soon. Why not just get the 2021-22 season off with a bang and get the W right now, HV3?
That would be a popular one, and that would be a good town to have it happen in out there. There's a variety of activities you could get into there. HV3, don't hate that pick at all. I'm going a little closer to the top of the board here, but I still think there's some pretty good value. Will Zalatoris, by the way, shout out to him, just named the Rookie of the Year on the PGA Tour. Did not get to play in the FedEx Cup, which we can talk about later. I think that stinks, but he's going off at 21-1. I think that's pretty good value for a guy that's like top 5 in the world in terms of tee to green. Narrow fairways, ball strikers, things like that. You start to think of Will Zalatoris. So I'm going to go with him riding the mo of just getting named Rookie of the Year, taking it into Napa 21-1. That's a little nicer payout than the old, 4.5 to 1 than you get with John Rahm.
I'll tell you another guy I like sneaky down the list. He's around 60-1 at FanDuel. Ches Reavie. Perfect golf course for Ches Reavie.
Very good golf course for him. If we're doing sneakers, I'll throw one in there as well. 43-1, Mark Leishman, who I believe finished 3rd here last year. Good golf
Likes
course.
when it gets firm.
Fast, bouncy golf courses. That's Mark Leishman's MO. So Leish at 43-1, I think that's a pretty good play too.
Well, I can't wait. The new season is here.
Here we
Let's
go.
get amongst it.
Why not?
Make sure you go to FanDuel, sign up. Make sure you type in that promo code Subpar. Let them know that we sent you. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll talk to you on next week's Golf Subpar.